In 2006, every time a cloud has appeared on the Mets horizon, the skies have cleared precipitously. And so it is again today. The Mets getting great news about one of their ace pitchers as they get set to play an important series here at Shea Stadium. There haven't been too many of those with the Mets sporting a big lead, but the team with the second best record in the National League is in town. A bit banged up, but Scott Rowland and Albert Pujols and the St. Louis Cardinals have made their way to Shea for their only visit of the year. At Shea Stadium in New York, the New York Mets play the St. Louis Cardinals, also available in high definition. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Shea Stadium. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets and Cardinals open a three-game series. Mets were in St. Louis early in the year, lost 2 out of 3. The Cardinals have been kind of stumbling along, but this is still the team that is certainly favored to be playing the Mets sometime in the postseason.
Well, they've got a short lead, a real tight lead in their Central Division, and usually they're a team that's run away with that division. Their pitching's been a little iffy this year, but they still got that big bat in Albert Pujols.
And Pujols and Carlos Beltran square off in this series, and maybe it's an MVP showdown.
Well, it's either one of the two here, and I think it's going to come down to, you know, Beltran's been with a team that's running away with it. Well, he's contributed to that. Their numbers are pretty much the same, except that Pujols' average is much better. I think he's the best hitter in baseball today. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a stretch run, in the Central Division, and Pujols gets hot. Then it makes the decision kind of tough who's going to be the MVP. These are two most deserving players right here for the most valuable player. It's a shame that really only one is going to get the award.
And Beltran has a chance to rewrite the Mets record book as far as home runs and RBIs are concerned with a solid last quarter of the season. Tom Glavine pronounced good to go at least within the next 7 to 10 days. That's good news for the New York Mets. Even better news is the way John Maine has been pitching lately, and he gets another crack at it tonight.
Well, just think about it, guys. They had these auditions for 12 different pitchers all season long, and John Maine won the race as he's just been outstanding. Since the All-Star break, his ERA is 1.57. That's the best in baseball. And his motion and the way he's been able to surprise the hitters, he gets away with more pitches in the middle part of the strike zone than really any pitcher I've seen in a long time. He doesn't throw 98 miles an hour. He only throws 92, but he's very deceptive with that long arm action.
And Maine will be opposed tonight by Jeff Weaver, who began his year pitching miserably for the Angels and has been pitching pretty well for the Cardinals over his last 3 starts. Well, the Mets held their breath for 48 hours. Now they can exhale. Tom Glavine's okay. We'll hear from him in a moment. A beautiful day in New York. Blue skies, very low humidity as the Mets come back from an off day to take on the St. Louis Cardinals tonight in the opener of a 3-game series. The day has already been awfully bright for the Mets with the news that Tom Glavine is going to be good to go, and Glavine met with the media before the game tonight.
Going through a lot of the tests that I went through and the stuff that they can do now medically, I mean, it really is unbelievable, the technology they have and the things they can do. And like you say, in the end, it boils down to, you know, something as simple as you taking a baby aspirin and getting on the medication that I've been off and on for so many years because of the circulation of my other 2 fingers. So, you know, in the end, it seems like a pretty simple solution for what turned out to be a whole bunch of elaborate tests. But you know, fortunately, I guess for me and for everybody involved, a simple solution in the end was certainly the one best one we could have hoped for. Not that surgery ever comes at a good time, but it seemed like this was the worst of all times, you know. For me personally, having a good year and obviously trying to get close to a personal milestone, and for our team playing the way that we're playing and being on a team that hopefully, barring something crazy, is going to get into the postseason and want to experience all that again. You know, I mean, those things go through your mind, and yeah, you're disappointed about the timing of it. But like I said, I don't know that there's ever a perfect time to have an injury and have to be faced with the possibility of having surgery. So yeah, I mean, you reflect on all that, and you know, it's the kind of thing that I guess as much as I enjoy doing what I do and love doing what I do and like being around these guys every day, it makes you appreciate it maybe even a little bit more, because, you know, even for a short time, even though I was kind of back and forth coming to the ballparks, you don't really feel like you're a part of things that are going on, and that wasn't a good feeling.
But Tommy should be able to resume baseball activity in a couple of days and be back on the mound in 7 to 10 days. In fact, the Mets have not even placed him on the disabled list to make room for Guillermo Mota, who was here today and available in the Mets bullpen. The Mets have optioned Royce Ring back to Norfolk. So it's the Mets and Cardinals opening a 3-game series tonight. That means Albert Pujols is in town. Carlos Delgado getting hot. And the Mets will try and outlast the Central Division leaders when we come back to Shea in a moment. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by ChevyOffers.com, the presenting sponsor of Baseball Night in New York. By Rico, move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. By Honda, see your Honda dealer and discover the great values now being offered. By Subway, introducing the play of the day at Subway, a regular 6-inch sandwich for only $2.99. Try all 7. Subway, eat fresh. And by Dodge, you can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton, on hand here tonight to watch himself a ball game. Got himself a pretty nice seat right behind home plate.
He looks good.
I think he just celebrated his 60th birthday. I know it's this month.
Yes, feeling well after all the heart difficulty. As we check out the Rico Cardinals lineup, Albert Pujols, 36 home runs, 98 runs batted in. But David Eckstein is missing. Jim Edmonds is missing. And those are 2 very large personages out of the St. Louis lineup.
John Maine, you can see that 3-3 record, though. He's pitched so well since the All-Star break, just coming off that 26-inning scoreless streak.
Aaron Miles filling in for Eckstein. Eckstein sitting out with a rib cage injury. He has not been placed on the disabled list, but probably should be, because it doesn't look like Eckstein, who hasn't played since last Friday, is going to be able to play anytime soon.
They said that it's going to be at least another week, and that's an optimistic viewpoint right there. So they may have to DL him.
And Maine falls behind Miles 3-0. Miles is a second baseman who's playing shortstop. In fact, tonight is only the 7th game in his career that he's played at short. As you look at Chris Duncan on deck, and Miles takes a strike. John Maine making his 9th start. Over his last 5, he's 3-0 with a 1.6 ERA. He's been that good. And a strike to Miles, 3-2.
Well, I think one of the main reasons for his success, Garrett, Ron, is he goes after him with the fastballs. He's not afraid to throw his fastball. He's really throws it 75% of the time.
And working very quickly at the outset tonight, maybe quicker than we've seen him.
I think it is a little quicker, but that's a good thing. I know the fielders love it, don't they, Keith? When you work quick, throw strikes, and I know managers love when you're aggressive and go after hitters. Pitching coaches like Rick Peterson also.
3-2 to Miles. Foul back. Do you think about your pace when you're pitching?
You do. I know sometimes you can get a little too quick because you're a little pumped up in the beginning of the game. Sometimes you have to slow yourself down, but sometimes in the middle of the game you have to kind of pick it up a little bit because you get lethargic sometimes.
Miles lifts one foul down the right field line, so Miles has seen 8 pitches already in this opening at bat.
DeWarner, he's back.
Juan Sanchez has been around the Mets clubhouse this homestand wearing a sling on his injured right arm. Toward the middle, Woodward on the backhand. One away. So 1 out and nobody on.
And the New York Metropolitans Geico defense. Delgado at first. Woodward at second base. Again, Valentin still, that hamstring is tight. Tucker and Chavez in the corner outfield positions, and that's been kind of the area where Willie's been trying to figure out right now. We got Millage. He gets a little spot playing there. He's on the bench today.
Here is Chris Duncan, who's about the hottest hitter going in the big leagues the last 2 weeks. In fact, he is the co-National League Player of the Week. Son of the Cardinals pitching coach Dave Duncan. And he takes a strike.
Well, he's big like his dad.
I remember him when he was a little guy 15 years ago, but boy, he can hit.
Riding an 8-game hitting streak right now and hitting over 500 during that stretch. Would give you an idea why he was Player of the Week.
And he hit 583 for that stretch, had a slugging percentage of over 1,000.
2-2 to Duncan.
You have to remember when he was a young man, he used to take batting practice with Canseco, McGuire, Lansford, all those cast of characters.
All grown up now. Duncan pops it up. Playable for David Wright. And just knocks a trip over the bag and makes the grab 2 away. If you're a corner infielder on a play like that, are you conscious of where the bag is?
You have time on a pop-up that's up there to find out. If you're anywhere near that bag, you have time to look down and find out where it is. You can see here it's way up. You see him look down already. He knew where the bag was. He looked down for that reason. You have plenty of time to look down and back up again.
So 2 out and nobody on, which is exactly the way the Mets wanted in front of Albert Pujols. Pujols is having an excellent season, but he has not been quite as dominant the last couple of months as he was early in the year before he hurt his oblique muscle and sat out on the disabled list for a few weeks. You see the Mets have held him in check recently, and Maine is ahead of him 0-2.
Oh yes, he hurt that oblique and he has been solid, but certainly Albert Pujols in the beginning of the season, we all talked about it. He was on a pace to do things that had never been done before.
And Maine comes right after him and strikes him out. Maine gets Pujols on 3 pitches. 1, 2, 3.
True Green Lawn and Land Care presents the ground rules. Hello.
Jeff Weaver today is celebrating his 30th birthday as he takes the mound for the Cardinals against the Chevy Mets lineup. Weaver has been drilled in the past by Carlos Delgado. You see Tucker and Chavez, the corner outfielders tonight. Chris Woodward getting another start at second base. Jose Valentin could be back tomorrow. And Reyes takes ball 1.
Jeff Weaver, of course, at 5-13 with the Angels and here with the St. Louis Cardinals. He's changed his arm angle a little, though, after coming with Dave Duncan, who is great at working with older pitchers trying to save their career. He's the best place at the right time for Weaver.
Well, he's always been a sinker slider pitcher, and he's never really been anything but a 500 pitcher or a sub 500 pitcher. He's always been a workhorse.
Balls behind Reyes, 3-1.
His best year was last year at 14-11 with the Dodgers.
He really carried that Dodger pitching staff last year, but things fell apart for him in Orange County. And it's drilled toward the gap in left center. Duncan over, makes the diving catch. Chris Duncan, a big man, laying himself out.
The catcher.
Well, my gosh, this is a heck of a catch here. That is just sprawled out, parallel to the ground. That is a fantastic play. That doesn't make that play. That's a triple for Reyes. It's a big hang with him, too.
That has not happened very often this year, and it is a hang with him.
When that ball was hit, it looked like there was no chance Duncan would catch it, but the ball sliced back toward him a little bit, which was the only thing that gave him a chance.
That has to be your approach on a pitcher like Weaver, who is a sinker ball pitcher and a left-hand hitter, is to take him into the left center field gap, wait for that sinker away.
1-1 to LaDuca. LaDuca just 6 for his last 35, so he's cooled down after 6 or 7 weeks when he was the hottest hitter in the league batting average wise.
The lefties are hitting .353. Look at Carlos Beltran off of Weaver this year. 17 of his 26 home runs given up to left-handers.
Right at the second baseman Belliard, and there are 2 away. So 2 out and nobody on.
Well, you know, when you talk about Dave Duncan, you got to mention guys like Dave Stewart, Bobby Welch late in his career, Storm Davis, Mike Moore. I have to include myself in that group. And I think that what he does better than anyone is he takes the macho out of your game. Early on in your career, you strike out guys, you can overpower guys at times. But later in your career, you have to give away those foolish things and become a pitcher and throw the ball to corners and change speeds, all those things that you didn't have to always employ as a young pitcher.
And sometimes it even works with pitchers who aren't necessarily at the back end of their careers. Look what he's done with Jason Marquis here since he's come to St. Louis. 2-1.
Well, Dave Duncan, I think, played on those great Oakland A's teams in the 70s. And that, in my mind, were the best teams in baseball that my generation that I ever saw. And he was the defensive catcher. Gene Tennis was the offensive catcher.
Hit hard right at Belliard, who likes to play deep. And it serves him well as he throws out Beltran, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Weaver, thanks to the performance of Chris Duncan out in left field, robbing Reyes of an extra base hit. Second inning, no score. Scott Rowland leads off for the Cardinals and takes a fastball strike from John Maine.
Well, John Maine's got to be careful with these 3 and 4 hitters in the Cardinal lineup because they're both good high ball hitters. And we know that Maine likes to throw upstairs with his fastball. He's probably wiser to come up and out of the strike zone a little bit, like he struck out Pujols to end the first inning. But these are Rowland and Pujols are very good high ball hitters.
0-2 to Rowland, and he pops it up. And Delgado's right there. 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on. On Mets.com, you can now download the MLB.TV Mosaic, and with it, you can watch up to 6 games simultaneously on one screen, including out-of-market Mets games. It's the highest quality video of live baseball you can watch on the internet. Check it out at Mets.com. 1 away. Here's Juan Encarnacion pressed into service in center field right now with Jim Edmonds out with post-concussion syndrome.
There he is.
Edmonds played a little bit defensively Saturday and Sunday, but still not ready to play full time yet. Is there something about John Maine that is helping him the first time people see him?
Well, he throws a lot of fastballs up in the strike zone. When it gets around the league will start to look down, which means, and Keith, you know this better than anyone, that you're going to try to find a ball out of his hand. Anything above the waist or that, you're going to try to spin on it, try to take it.
And he strikes out Encarnacion with a fastball. I mean, he just threw 6 out of 7 pitches fastballs to Rowland and Encarnacion, and they just can't reach it.
The one thing he does have working for him, though, even up in the strike zone, and it might work in the future, he's just very deceptive. He's one of those guys that has this long, lazy windup, and the ball is on you. And hitters go, how did I miss that? How did I foul that back? It was right there. But he just has whatever that is, that little extra at the end.
Here's Preston Wilson playing his 4th game as a Cardinal, let go by the Astros. Cardinals had a need. Mets passed on Preston, and he signed with St. Louis. Hit a home run in his first game with the Cardinals. And the changeup misses 1-1. Talk about guys with long, slow deliveries where the ball explodes. How about Mariano Rivera? Pop this way, foul, and it's 1-2.
Rivera, we had a good friend, Sid Fernandez, who came by to say hello. He's at the game tonight. No one had the slower windup than Sid Fernandez, and that ball jumped on you. And Sweet Lou.
Number 20.
Right at the second baseman, Woodward. Easy hop. And another 1-2-3 inning for John Maine. He's retired the first 6 to face him. So Maine off to a fast start on a gorgeous night in New York. Mets and Cardinals go to the bottom of the second. No score. Sunset in New York. As we go to the bottom of the second, Carlos Delgado leads off against Jeff Weaver, whom he has owned over the years. Delgado with great career numbers against Weaver, 17 for 35 with 2 home runs, and he drills one deep down the right field line toward the corner. It's out of here. Home run number 30 for Carlos Delgado. 1-0 New York. For Delgado, it's career home run number 399. That ties him with Andres Galarraga and Al Kaline for 42nd on the all-time list. And it's the 10th straight year now that Delgado has hit 30 or more home runs. And right hits one deep down the left field line. Hooking. Foul. Just foul. Whew.
Well, Delgado, this is such a good sign right here that he's coming back. Remember now, he's hit it's the second home run in this homestand. He's a breaking ball and he's waiting. That is hitting up at the plate, letting the ball come to you, something he hasn't been doing, and he has been lately. So those are all positives.
That's the 4th home run in the last 5 games for Delgado. Ten straight years of 30 home runs. That is magnificent consistency as Wright rolls over one to third. And Roland, the Gold Glover, throws him out, one away.
Well, his next home run, the number 400, it's going to be quite a milestone. Not too many guys with 400 home runs that can dance like that in the bench.
There's Michael Tucker hitting 6th in the order. Tucker making his 8th start as a Met, and he fouls it back. And the news is coming down that the Shawn Green to the Mets deal is just about done. Something that Omar Minaya has clearly been working on for the last week or so. And reports are that the deal is done. It's not been announced yet, if indeed it is. And Tucker has himself a base hit. Michael Tucker's done a nice job filling in since he was called up from Norfolk. This is what Shawn Green has done this year. Now keep in mind that Shawn Green is signed for next year at $9.5 million. He has an option the following year at $10 million with a $2 million buyout. And I think one of the keys to that deal is going to be, if indeed it comes down, how the money is structured, how much of that salary Arizona will pick up.
I think that's the reason it hasn't happened earlier. It's just that they want to make sure, the Mets make sure that they work out the financial difficulties of a deal and how much money is owed to Shawn Green over the next 2 years.
Well, it's a big gamble because Shawn Green's numbers have been diminishing since his great years over in Toronto, and came over to the Dodgers, into Arizona. I mean, 11 home runs in that ballpark with 51 RBI, that is not productive.
Yeah, that's a good hitter's ballpark.
Well, Beltran was good friends with Delgado, who came over here, and certainly being behind him in the lineup helped him have the year he's having. Delgado and Green are friends. They were friends in Toronto when Green had his best years. Maybe that will help Shawn Green have a hot September.
Well, I'm sorry, Gary, go ahead.
Chavez pops it up. And Roland has an easy play, 2 out.
One thing it'll do, if you look at tonight's Met lineup, you're going to have Beltran, Delgado, Wright. They're not moving anywhere. They're your 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Now you bring in Shawn Green, a left-hand hitter, to tuck him in the 6th hole behind Wright. That's left-handed protection for Wright. And then Chavez is going to probably get some diminished time. And your bench is going to get stronger because now you filled that outfield void with the loss of Nady.
As Woodward takes a strike. I think it's fair to say that Shawn Green is not the same player that he was 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, he had 49 home runs one year with Toronto. He's not going to do that anymore. But he is a legitimate big league hitter. He's batting .283 this year. Molina throws in behind Tucker and he gets back.
And they have a nice lineup in Arizona, but certainly not as strong as the Met lineup, so that has to help also.
Well, it's not like Shawn Green's over the hill. No, he's still in his prime. He could all of a sudden maybe find a happy home here and find revitalization.
You know what, though? I think it's a matter of adjusting expectations because there are a number of players, and we've seen a lot of them this year as Woodward fouls it back, who used to be home run hitters. Brian Giles, Luis Gonzalez, Shawn Green, they're all in that category who are not going to be big home run hitters anymore.
Well, it remains to be seen. In the 6th position, I mean, Shawn Green hits his 300, and it's all about driving in runs. It doesn't matter how you drive them in, with home runs or doubles. It does not matter.
And that's part of the adjustment in his game.
It's adjustment in his game, and also he went to Los Angeles from Toronto with some of the same things that happened to Carlos Beltran. He's not the kind of guy that wants to be the #1 guy. He'd rather fit in amongst the lineup. He certainly would have that here.
And the breaking ball in for a call, strike 3. Woodward down looking. So Weaver works through the inning, but the Mets grab the lead on Carlos Delgado's 30th home run of the year. Career number 399, and it gets John Maine a lead.
Convict.
We go to the 3rd inning here at Shea. Mets with a 1-0 lead. As we check out our subway around the major leagues, Tom Glavine back for the Mets. Big blow to the Phillies.
Yeah.
Aaron Rowan probably out for the rest of the regular season. Ron Belliard takes ball 1.
Boy, he and Utley look like two spinning tops as they collided on that play that always seems to get the second baseman or shortstop and the center fielder.
Belliard pops it up. And Delgado in toward the mound, 1 away. So 7 batters against John Maine, and not a single one has hit the ball out of the infield. Fun at the ballpark.
Oh, that's our producer's family there. Greg Picker, that's his kids. Those 2 kids. Look at those 2 kids in those Met uniforms. The Pickers.
Yadier Molina bounces 1 foul.
They were up here in the booth. They were making a lot of noise. They're running around like brats. Dad had no control over them.
That was Keith Hernandez who said that.
Dad had no control over those kids.
Number 17. 1 and 2 to Molina. You realize that Greg has control over your microphone. He can just turn it right off now.
They turned me off.
You know what happened is Greg has had trouble concentrating on his parental skills because he's been trying to take care of us also.
And Molina goes down swinging. 3rd strikeout for John Maine, who is off to a scintillating start tonight.
Again, that fastball up in the strike zone. They just cannot lay off it. Lazy arm action, 4-seamer, and that ball seems to, now they say physically that ball's not supposed to rise, but boy, it sure looks like it is.
And they keep on chasing that ball up and out of the strike zone. Jeff Weaver, not a bad hitting pitcher. Lifetime .213 hitter. Wonder if Jeff's happy to be back in New York. This was not the scene of his most memorable stretch. First-round draft pick of the Tigers, who enjoyed a lot of success in Detroit before he came to the Yankees, and it was not fun for him in the Bronx at all.
Well, those were his early days emotionally, where he was a hothead.
Almost makes you forget about Eddie Lee Whitson. I mean, that's how bad of a time he had over there.
Boy, Whitson just had the most miserable time.
Maine ahead of a 1 and 2. And Weaver hits it right to Woodward. So Maine has been perfect through the first 3 innings, and the Cardinals have not hit a single ball out of the infield. The sun has been going down on the Cardinals over the first 3 innings of this one. Well, you may have heard that this September the WB11 is changing into the new CW11. So what does that mean to fans of the WB11 news? Well, the name of the station may be changing, but the CW11 will still be the place to find your favorite news shows in the morning and at night. John Maine leads off the home 3rd inning, looking for his first big league hit. Still got nearly a quarter of a season to play. But if John Maine continues to pitch the way he has been pitching, and this is now, you know, we're talking about 6, 7 starts in a row, how can they possibly leave him out of a playoff rotation?
Get your checkbook ready, John. If you pitch this way the whole rest of the way, you will be buying postseason tickets for friends and family. I mean, he will absolutely be on the roster and have an opportunity either to start or pitch out of the bullpen.
But I guess that's the question. You don't know what he's going to do out of the bullpen. You've seen what he's done as a starter. How can you leave him out of your rotation?
Well, the bullpen's pretty set right now, isn't it? Is there any room for the bullpen? I mean, you got three left-handers.
Maine goes down looking, one away.
As you look at one of them right there, and Mr. Feliciano.
They had 4 lefties, but one was sent out today. Royce Ring optioned back to Norfolk to make room for Guillermo Mota. Did you see Mota today in the clubhouse? He looks like he's about 7 feet tall. Yes, tall. It looks like he should be playing basketball.
Well, it's a little iffy as to what he was having a terrible year. But we all know that he's got a golden arm.
There's Reyes, who was robbed of an extra base hit his first time up. A great catch in left center by Chris Duncan.
Just seems to me that Omar Minaya has just been stocking up on pitching. I can't argue with him.
Well, nice play by Chris Duncan. Have a guy that big hit home runs and make plays like that for left center field.
Slapped to short. Aaron Miles playing shallow and throws out Reyes 2 away. So 2 out and nobody on.
The catcher, Paul Loduca.
Well, we're going to give you the forward Cardinal defense, and you can see that they are a fine defensive team. The Cardinals are always good defensive clubs. Belliard in the trade that came over from Cleveland. Aaron Miles playing in spot of the shortstop instead of Eckstein, who's hurt. Of course, the Gold Glover Scott Rowland over there at third base. Just seems like the Cardinals are a team kind of patching things together.
That's interesting you say that, Keith. Patching things together. Talking about John Maine. Have you ever seen a first place team that's running away with their division going to have more questions to answer about their starting rotation in September than the New York Mets?
It's a breaking ball strike. Well, it could be that they'll have everybody healthy. I mean, Glavine certainly got good news today. You expect to have Pedro back healthy. You throw El Duque and Traxel into that mix along with Maine, and you're not going to use 5 starters in a playoff series.
But you have to use 4 because the Mets have older starters, and they're not the kind of pitchers that'll go on 3 days rest. You know, you look at the Cardinals, they might have struggled, but they're winning their division. But you have the Carpenter factor. He's a guy that can start 3 times in a 7-game series and beat you 3 times.
And LaDuca gets one past Rowland's glove. And the Mets have their 3rd hit off Weaver.
Well, LaDuca here just turns on a sinker. He just 1 for 10 in this homestand. That's his 2nd hit now. 2 for 11. Right up at the plate. Good hitting on a sinker on the belt. He was so hot, I guess he was due to kind of hit a little dry spell.
Here's Beltran, who hit a hard ground ball to Belliard his first time up. Ooh. Now Delgado already has his home run tonight. On Sunday, Beltran and Delgado both homered in the same game. It was the 8th time this season they had homered in the same game. It probably wouldn't surprise you if I told you which is the only duo in Major League Baseball that's done it more.
You know that one.
That would be that pair in Boston, Ortiz and Ramirez.
Who seem to do it every game.
The ones who didn't win a game against the Yankees this weekend.
5 up, 5 down.
Talk about destroying your season. 2-1 to Beltran.
Yankees, the last time they won 5 games in Fenway Park, it was in 1943.
Well, they beat them every which way. 47 runs in the first 4 games, then 2-1 in the last one. And how can you do anything but limp out west if you're the Red Sox? Change up by Weaver, 2-2. When that series began, the Red Sox could have finished anywhere from 3.5 in front to 6.5 behind. Well, worst case scenario.
That was a wipeout.
And they're now 4 games back in the wild card. So they could be left home very easily this October.
Boy, getting on that team bus to fly out west, you got your sunglasses on, hat on. You don't want anyone to notice who you are.
And the fans yesterday afternoon at Fenway just slunk out. Two and 2 to Beltran. the middle, but that's where Miles is playing, and he takes it to the bag to end the inning. 1 hit and 1 left. Still 1-0 New York.
Whenever there's a Mets game on Sportsnet New York, it's Baseball Night in New York, presented by ChevyOffers.com.
Time for our Aflac trivia question. Last night, El Duque became the 3rd Mets pitcher to steal third base. Who were the other 2?
Well, if the folks get the one that we know, I'll be amazed.
Well, to tell you the truth, the other 2 are both stunning when you think about it.
One is extremely stunning.
Yeah, I guess. El Duque was stunning enough. I mean, the Mets have had some athletic pitchers over the years, like this guy, Darling. He could steal a base. Up the middle, and there's the first hit of the game off John Maine, off the bat of Aaron Miles. Maine had retired 9 in a row to begin the game.
I'm embarrassed. I never stole third in my entire career.
I mean, Doc Gooden. I mean, there have been a number of Met pitchers over the years who had the athleticism to steal bases. But the 2 plus El Duque who actually did steal third base, it's stunning.
Yes. Someone had to be asleep. I bet it was a day game.
And Duncan rips one down the line. That's
well, the 8th double for Duncan. Oh, fastball, outer half, mid-thigh. Now, maybe there's a difference in that pitch when you make him get it down and then up. Sid was very much that way, Ronnie.
Ball down becomes straight, which is almost the opposite of any other pitcher. Ball upstairs has life.
So here's Pujols. You got first base open, but nobody out in a 1-run game. Mets will play the infield back and concede a run on a grounder. And Pujols lifts it foul. Maine struck him out on 3 pitches his first time up. Let's see what Pujols has done lately with runners in scoring position. Not what you'd expect. Pretty good for the season, though. 396. And he hits it to deep right center field. Forget it. What a shot by Pujols to the opposite field. A 3-run homer, his 37th of the year. And just like that, the Cardinals go up 3-1. Well, Maine retired the first 9 in order, but it took just 5 pitches here in the 4th inning for him to get belted for 3 runs.
Well, I said that Pujols and Rolen are good high ball hitters. Look at the level swing. And that's another ball that was in the strike zone, wasn't out of the strike zone. And boy, he is so solid and compact and so strong. That's his 101st RBI of the season. But we're going to look right here. Look at the no wasted motion. Look at that. Oh, that is just beautiful. He is so powerful. Look at his arms. Very, very strong man.
And the breaking ball misses to Rolen. So after the first time through the batting order, nobody was able to center the ball. All of a sudden, this second time through, the Cardinals are getting great swings.
It's a combination of 2 things. One is that they've seen him at 1 at bat, and secondly, you got to believe their hitting instructor came over to them and said, hey, listen, this kid is not fooling around. He is going to throw you a fastball on the first pitch. You be ready as soon as you get in the box.
Back-to-back breaking balls here from Maine, and now he comes back to the fastball, and Rolen fouls it off.
Well, it's always an important thing right now too, Ron, when you watch a young pitcher. This is the inning where everything could fall apart on him, and see how he reacts and if he can come back and stop the bleeding. Get out of this inning with just 3 runs.
The 8th home run Maine has allowed this season, and it was 430 feet to the opposite field.
Listen, you know you have power as a right-handed hitter. Is a left-handed pull hitter with power. If they hit that shot, that would have been a bomb. That's a right-handed hitter hitting that ball off the scoreboard in right center.
Piazza-esque.
Yes.
Speaking of which, did you notice that Piazza, since his 2 home run game here, has not had a hit?
0 for 24, I believe.
Longest drought of his career. It's a funny game. Roland pulls it down to right. Who idolized Roland as a kid and now throws him out. 1 away.
Keith, you made a great point. And that is when you give up those runs so quickly after you've been cruising. You know, at one point you're thinking, boy, I got 9 up and 9 down. This might be one of those special days. And next thing you know, they got 3 on the board. You really have to. Sometimes a catcher like LaDuca can help you. A pitching coach can help you. But the bottom line is you got to help yourself. You got to calm down out there, and you got to hold it at this number, give your team a chance to come back.
That number got crooked in a big hurry. 1-1 to Encarnacion, who struck out his first time up.
Well, a little bit of an uppercut on this swing, and that swings right through the high fastball. That's where he needs to be, Ron, right there. That pitch that starts out at the letters and goes and rides up. This fastball will start right about here, and it'll take off, and that's out of the strike zone. Has a little hump on it. That's where he's got to be. Same pitch right there, out of the strike zone.
Davey Johnson used to have a thing you would say to me and other pitchers. So just because a guy's a high ball hitter or a low ball hitter, that doesn't mean you don't throw it there. Just if he's a low ball hitter, throw it a little lower. If he's a high ball hitter, throw it a little higher, because they want to swing at that pitch.
Because as yet they have not laid off it at all. Slider hit to short. And Reyes throws out Encarnacion 2 down. So 2 out and nobody on. Here's Preston Wilson.
Preston Wilson.
Preston is the only hitter in the Cardinals lineup tonight who has actually faced John Maine before. Faced him with the Astros earlier this year. Off the end of the bat. It was a little surprising to see Preston Wilson released by Houston. He was sitting second on their team in runs batted in, but Jason Lane had come up and taken his spot.
Well, we talked about it all the time, haven't we? We've shown these scouts that check out opposing players on opposing teams. And I think that when a guy becomes available, Omar and his staff gets together with those people that have been watching them play, and they all get together, huddle together, and figure out if this guy can still play or not. And they came up with a no answer for Preston, I would have to believe.
I heard one of the nicest quotes out of Brad Ausmus, who was Preston's teammate in Houston, who said the 2 or 3 weeks after Preston lost his job and was sitting on the bench, he proved to be the most professional player he had ever seen in terms of his attitude. Woodward under it, and Wilson retired to end the inning. Well, John Maine had himself 3 perfect innings, but it all came apart quickly as Albert Pujols crushed his 37th home run of the year, and it's 3-1 St. Louis as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Jeff Weaver now with a 2-run lead as Carlos Delgado leads off the bottom of the 4th. First time up, Delgado delivered tonight's Coors Light Cold Blast.
Well, he got himself a breaking ball, and that is a good sign when Delgado, anybody's been in a slump and he's been breaking out, and I think he's out. When they hit an off-speed breaking ball and wait and hit a home run like that, that is always a very favorable sign that you're getting your act back together.
Into the shift by Pujols, booted by Belliard, and Delgado aboard. Well, they had half the team on that side of the infield, but nobody could catch the ball. And Delgado's on base.
Well, I don't know how they're going to rule this. An E4?
I would think.
Yes. It's got to be.
Pujols couldn't quite reach it. You know, Belliard's a guy who plays deep anyway.
Yeah.
So he's comfortable fielding the ball on the outfield grass. He just didn't field that one.
I agree with you guys. That's an error. But you also are assuming that that long throw from the outfield is going to be perfect to the pitcher covering the bag. That's a tough assumption. That would have been a tough play, that throw from Belliard to Weaver.
So the Mets have a leadoff base runner, tying run at the plate for David Wright. To center field, sinking, Encarnacion gets there. 1 away. So 1 out and 1 on. And let's bring back the duck and answer the Aflac trivia question. The other 2 Met pitchers before El Duque to steal third base. Now, who would have guessed that?
Who would have guessed Sid? And Sid's in the ballpark tonight. He didn't leave.
Sid
he's
was
still here.
Sid was not fast.
Sid, how'd you do that? Come over here in the booth and tell us.
And Hershiser was like 40 years old when he pitched for the Mets.
And Sid later scored. I think he scored the next pitch, which was a pass ball.
And everything went right for us in '86.
It was early in the season. He had his legs. Here's Tucker. He takes ball 1. Tucker had a base hit his first time up. Two and 0. Andy Chavez hitting 7th in the order tonight. Three and 0. Weaver generally has very good control, averaging less than 2.5 walks per 9 innings. What hurts him is the home run ball, and he's already given up 1 tonight, the 27th he's allowed. And Tucker takes a strike.
It's the home run ball, and he also has been prone to have some bad body language out on the mound, where he will show up a teammate if he makes an error. He will get down on himself and stalk around the mound, and that's not always the winning way.
3-1 to Tucker. There's ball 4, and the Mets have the tying runs on base. First walk given up by Weaver. From now until September 15th, Sportsnet New York and Budweiser are teaming up for Mets Live on SNY viewing parties across the New York metropolitan area. Come on down for a shot at giveaways and a chance at free Mets tickets. For a complete listing of dates and locations, visit sny.tv today. So an error and a walk put 2 men on for Andy Chavez. Andy popped up his first time up. If the Mets do make the deal for Shawn Green, certainly Andy Chavez's playing time is going to be affected. The one unknown right now in the Mets corner outfield situation is the health of Cliff Floyd. Now, Cliff is still down in Port St. Lucie. He had to leave to go back to Chicago because his sister passed away a few days ago. But he does not appear to be very close to making a return. Hit to right field, right off the end of the bat to Wilson, and that's the second out. So 2 away. And it's left to Chris Woodward.
And I think also, Gary, you're talking about Cliff.
Second baseman, Chris Woodward.
I think this is also why now, thus, we have this talk of this trade with Arizona for Shawn Green. Because if Cliff was going to be coming back healthy, they wouldn't consider. I don't think they would consider the trade.
And at least his status is enough of an unknown that you have to make some kind of deal, because, well, if somebody's not in the organization by the end of August, they're not eligible for postseason play. So you've only got 9 days. Here's Woodward with 2 out and 2 on. He takes a slider outside.
If Pedro Martinez's health was as unknown as Cliff Floyd's is, you wouldn't be talking about Green. You'd be talking about a starting pitcher that Manaea was going after. So you can tell that they're worried about Cliff and his foot.
There's a strike, 1-1. The interesting thing about it is that before they knew that Glavine was going to be okay, Omar was not talking about going outside the organization. He feels he has enough depth here with Brian Bannister and Oliver Perez and Mike Pelfrey and even Philip Umber perhaps being part of the mix if necessary. Two and 1 to Woodward. That's one thing the Mets have done a very good job of, is stockpiling pitchers.
The Mets organization, when they have had good teams, they've always stockpiled on pitching, from the '69 team to the '73 team to the '86 or the '80s teams.
On 2-1, Woodward with a check swing swing bouncer right back to Weaver. And that gets him through the inning. So Weaver able to work around an error and a walk. And he keeps himself a 2-run lead going to the 5th. We go to the 5th inning at Shea as we check out the Jeep upcoming schedule. 2 more games to go with the Cardinals in this series the next 2 nights before the Phillies come here for the weekend. From 1969, when the divisional format began, through 1993, Ron Belliard leads off the 5th inning with a base hit. For that period of time, the Mets and Cardinals were in the same division in the National League East and faced each other 18 times a year. But things have changed now, man. These teams only face each other 6 or 7 times a year, and it's a shame because there was such a great rivalry between the Mets and the Cardinals for a while there.
Well, for a long time it was the Mets beating up on the the Cardinals beating up on the Mets, but in the 80s the Mets Cardinals they had a totally different team than our team. They had great defense. We had good defense. They had solid pitching. We had really good pitching, but their speed against our power, kind of, right, Keith?
Absolutely. They had a much better defensive club than ours and played much more, I think, sounder fundamentals and more discipline. But they relied on their speed in that AstroTurf field, a big ballpark, and Whitey Herzog tailored those teams around Willie McGee's, the Ozzie Smiths, the Vince Colemans, and you put a Jack Clark in there, and the power in the middle. It was pretty formidable.
Molina takes the breaking ball for a strike.
Joaquin Andujar and John Tudor and Danny Cox were pretty good 1, 2, 3 starters right there.
Ricky Matthews, I think, was one of their 4th or 5th stars for a while. Joe Migraine a little later.
Joe Migraine.
Molina drills one to deep left field. Tucker won't get to this one, and it hops up against the fence. Belliard being waved around 3rd. Here's the relay throw to the plate by Reyes. Loduca picks it up, makes the tag, got him! What a pickup by Paul Loduca, and Belliard is out. Unbelievable.
Well, we're talking about Cardinal fundamentals. Well, the Mets also do at this ball club. Look at this. Not the strongest of throws in, but most important, hits the cutoff man. What a play by Loduca. This is a short hop and then make the tag. Reyes, of course, with the cannon. That is just one fine play by Paul Loduca.
Infield in for Weaver, who fouls it off. Double for Molina. He takes 3rd on the throw.
And they'll see if he got him right here. This is the good angle. Yes, he did. What a play.
Put the hand right into the tag.
Joe West, of course, with a great call, but just those gloves are not made to pick up the ball like that. Not only to pick it up, but quickly make the tag.
Weaver breaks his bat.
Well, here it is again. You're going to see nice play on the pickup. Ronnie's right about the glove. Look at that. That just says it all right there.
We have seen Loduca involved in a number of plays this year where he's had to make difficult pickups, some where he's made outs without even having the ball. There's a 3rd strike to Weaver, and that's 2 men down. So Maine, needing a strikeout, gets one, his 4th of the night.
Well, good curveball from John Maine, a pitch that we have not seen him use that often, and I think against this Cardinal team that's looking for the fastball, he should employ that more and more throughout this game.
I think as he goes 2nd time through the league too, as Rick Peterson goes out to the mound, that he's going to have to throw more curveballs, start mixing it up. Ronnie.
Well, Miles last time up got things started for the Cardinals by singling up the middle. Now Maine about to start his 3rd time through the batting order. And Belliard checking to make sure he has all his digits. I mean, it's still incomprehensible to me that guys dive headfirst into home plate. I mean, in this case, he didn't go into a shin guard, but only bad things can happen.
Well, it's more of a country club, but he hurt his finger there. Let's see. It probably jammed his pinky.
More like a fall than a slide.
Those shin guards of a catcher can separate more shoulders or jam more knees.
Well, they went to put those fingers into the plate, and he ran into a leather road block. That's what happened.
That's just an unbelievable play by Leduca.
Well, those are the things that win and lose your ball games. Your basic fundies, Gear.
I love that word.
I know, that's why I got to throw it in there. I threw it in for your sake.
But a catcher is not taught to make a backhand pick like a shortstop. That's an extraordinary fundy.
That is, well, that's
beyond.
That's an extraordinary play.
And now Maine behind Miles 3-0. Chris Duncan, who's been red hot, waiting on deck. 3-1 St. Louis, and Maine trying to keep it there. He's already been helped out by his defense this inning. He throws a strike to Miles. Miles draws a walk. That's the first of the night issued by John Maine. He's only been averaging about 2.5 walks per 9 innings. So now runners at first and third for Duncan.
Now, if you're any kind of hitter, right, left or right, and you got Albert Pujols behind you, first and third. He doesn't want to walk because it loads the bases, and he has to pitch to Albert. This is around as great a protection as you can ever get in an at bat in a game.
Duncan ripped a double down the right field line his last time up. Now has a 9-game hitting streak going and hitting over 500. Molina at third, Miles at first and 2 out. And Maine bounces the breaking ball, and it's 2-0.
Well. This is a very fine pitch to hit.
Well, after the first pitch fastball miss, comes back with the changeup. Nice play by Leduca to keep it in front. But this is one of those places for a young pitcher. What do? Trying to figure out what you can get over to try to get an out.
Goes right back to his bread and butter, and Duncan fouls it off.
And you saw Leduca call inside fastball behind the count. I like Leduca's very aggressive. And as a hitter, Lou Brock always told me, know your catchers too. Get a feel for what Leduca is. Obviously a very aggressive catcher. He's calling in again.
And Maine misses, and now it's 3-1. That's pretty impressive that he's been able to bounce back when behind 2-0. But he walks Duncan to fill the bases for Pujols. Well, you couldn't ask for more trouble. Back-to-back walks to Miles and Duncan after Leduca's fabulous defensive play put him in a position to get through the inning.
Well, there's nowhere to hide right now. This is going to be a very interesting at bat.
Well, Pujols hit the home run to right center field. If you're going to get him out, if you're attempting to get him out, you have to pitch inside and try to tie him up. Now, that's a dangerous place with the bases loaded, but you cannot just live by throwing fastballs in the outside corner. He's too strong.
Pujols 360, 96 with runners in scoring position.
There's ball one.
Gary, 396 with runners in scoring position, 367 with 2 outs. Ouch. That's clutch.
Maybe the best hitter in all of baseball, and he takes a slider for a strike. Nobody's ever had 5 years to begin their career the way Pujols has. It's at the deep left field. Back goes Tucker looking up, and it's out of here. A grand slam for Pujols. 7 RBIs in the last 2 innings for Albert. 7-1 St. Louis. Well, if this game shaped up as an MVP showdown, Albert has laid all his cards on the table.
Third baseman.
Wow.
Number 38. He now has 105 runs batted in.
So he's saying if Albert Pujols is playing Texas Hold'em, he's all in. Whoa.
Guillermo Mota just donning a Mets uniform for the first time, already up in the bullpen as Roland fouls one off.
Well, here's the pitch. It's a slider, not in a bad spot. It wasn't a great breaker, Ron. It looked like it was just kind of a spinner.
Well, not only was it a spinner, but it was the second slider in a row he threw. He backed up a slider with another slider, and hard to fool a hitter like that twice.
Roland fouls one back.
Look at this. Right up at the plate. Very impressive. Wow, what a game.
Albert Pujols has now had 56 career at bats at Shea Stadium and hit 7 home runs. 7 homers and 56 at bats in this ballpark. Breaking ball in there for a call, strike 3. Rolling down, the inning is over, but Albert Pujols has claimed this stadium as his own. 3-run homer in the 4th, and now a grand slam in the 5th. 7-1 St. Louis.
I'm Matt Yaloff with your Chevrolet Baseball Night in New York update. White Sox and Tigers. Marcus Timms deep the other way to right center field. Carlos Guillen comes in. It's a triple for Timms, and Detroit is up 3-0 in the 5th. Back to Gary and the guys at Shea.
All right, Matt. Ricky Leday will bat for John Maine. Maine's night got crushed with 2 swings of Albert Pujols' bat. Leday still trying to find himself as a Met. Just 1 for 15. Maine thought he might bat. No.
No, he came from Baltimore. It's not used to. You can stay in the game when you're behind like that, but certainly not in the National League.
Well, Willie Randolph right now, we're in the 5th, bottom of the 5th. Obviously, you're down 6 runs. You've got to get your ball club back in the ball game, or attempt to.
Two and two to Leday. Well, the 7 RBIs for Pujols, the first time he's ever done that in his brilliant career.
Kind of impressed with Weaver, Ron. Looks like Duncan has got him on the right track now. He's been pitching good. He's got a good little tight slider to go to keep the left-hand hitters honest.
And he walks Leday leading off. Well, that's the last thing you want to do with a 7-1 lead. And a struggling hitter at the plate. You walk Leday leading off.
The shortstop, Jose Reyes.
So the Mets will try and fight back with Reyes, who is lined out to left and grounded to short. Nothing in 1 to Reyes.
You know, Keith, you were talking about Jeff Weaver. Now, you like his tight little slider. Duncan's already changed him, too. He used to have a very pronounced core swivel that his number on the back of his jersey would almost face the hitter before he would come back and release the ball. He's taken that away. He's made it more traditional. He's kept his shoulders kind of locked in, especially his front shoulder. He's more of a traditional pitcher now. He used to take forever to let get rid of the ball to the plate. His dunk.
He was more herky-jerky, too, wasn't he, Ronnie?
Absolutely.
And if you've seen his brother, I mean, Jared Weaver, who has been just phenomenal for the Angels, he's all arms and legs and twists and turns.
Like Louis Tiant, the 6'6" version of them. But and that's one of the reasons he is so successful, his younger brother.
Gets away from Molina, and over to second goes Leday.
Well, this is a pass ball here, and lack of concentration. Just missed it. And Molina is a fine defensive catcher.
So now runner in scoring position, 3-1 to Reyes as the Mets try to build something. It is a pass ball.
Managers and pitchers coaches don't get too far from each other during the course of the game.
Reyes pops it up. Miles retreating. Got turned around. Gives way, and Duncan drops it. Leday will stay at second. Reyes safe at first. Now that one had trouble written all over it from the time it went up.
Well, Duncan does the right thing. It's his ball. And he does call off Miles. And Miles doesn't get out of the way. Obviously distracted Duncan here, and that pass ball now is very important in this inning because he might have got his recovery time on Miles was real quick. The runner on first, he would have had the force out.
Well, Weaver was able to work around a leadoff error in the last inning. Now the Cardinals commit their second error of the game. 2 aboard, nobody out from Leduca, and he tries to drop down a bunt with Roland playing deep. But he fouled it off. Leduca has grounded out and singled to left, 1 for 2. So let's see how Weaver handles the adversity here. And Leduca punches a base hit to right. Leday has to hold up to make sure it wouldn't be caught, so he'll stop at third, and the Mets have the bases loaded. Nobody out in the heart of the batting order coming up. A chance to get right back in this game.
Well, good hitting by Leduca. That is a pitch right on the inner half. And he opts to go inside out a little bit the other way. He's so good at that, and that is just such good hitting.
You know, it's amazing, Keith. He can go line to line. His last at bat, he had an inside fastball, and he pulled it down the left field line. So he can take that pitch and go either way.
So Dave Duncan will come out to try to settle down Jeff Weaver, who's already had, in some ways, an extraordinary season. I mean, here's a guy who went 3-10 with the Angels to start the year after a pretty good season last year, and then had the strangest day of his life in June when he was designated for assignment to make room on the roster for his younger brother. Talk about mixed emotions. But then lands here in St. Louis, had a couple of rough outings, but has pitched very well lately, and now handed a big lead and trying to hang on to it.
We were talking about it before. I think he landed at the right time at the right place. Dave Duncan is the kind of pitching coach who doesn't mince words. He will tell you exactly what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you start right away working on those strengths.
John Maine hoping the Mets can get him off the hook as Randy Flores goes to work in the Cardinals bullpen. Bases loaded, nobody out. Beltran 0 for 2 on the night. Mets down by 6, but they're poised to try and get it back. 1-0 to Beltran. Leday is at third. He walked. Reyes at second. He reached on an error. Leduca at first. He singled. Beltran with 7 career grand slams. He chases a fastball away, 1-1.
And you're right about that, Gary. It was a lot of strike. And that's the difference between now. It happens. You all swing at bad pitches. Instead of a 2-0, it's 1-1. I'm sure Carlos is mad at himself.
Huge pitch here, though, in the at-bat.
1-1. Beltran watches it on the outside corner, 1-2.
Well, a good fastball from Weaver right on the corner. Got the call from home plate umpire James Howe. Hoy.
So now Carlos finds himself in a hole. Trying to make something happen on 1-2, and he pulls it foul. Beltran has 3 grand slams this season, 3 of the 8 the Mets have hit, which matches a club record. Back to Weaver. He'll come home underhand to get an out. If you throw it overhand, he might have a chance for a double play, but he settled for just the 1 out.
Never ceases to amaze me that the guys that make a living throwing pitches for strikes cannot make a simple athletic throw as he does the underhand toss to catcher Molina.
My goodness, what was he thinking with Delgado on the on-deck circle?
So here's Delgado. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez, Chris Connor with you from Shea Stadium. Mets find themselves in a 7-1 hole thanks to 2 Albert Pujols bombs. Carlos Delgado has accounted for the Mets' only run with a home run, and he's got the bases loaded with 1 out. And Weaver leans him back. Delgado hitting nearly 500 for his career against Weaver, including his home run tonight, his third against Weaver. Reyes, Leduca, and Beltran the base runners. The infield overshifted to the right. Carlos lays off to strike, 1-1.
One thing that Weaver has done here to left-hand hitters again, when he's in trouble, Ronnie, he throws that little cutter, that slider inside. He pitches inside to establish the at-bat in, and then runs that sinker away. 2 straight pitches, sliders to Delgado in.
Keeps it in on him, 2-1.
Well, that's a great point, Steve, because you can't do it the other way. You cannot go outside and get a strike away unless you've done something inside. That way, if you do some pitching inside that he has here, if you make a mistake outside, you might get away with it. You might foul it back.
Delgado tonight has his 30th home run of the year, the 399th of his career. And the slider misses low.
Boy, how sweet would number 400 be as a grand slam? That would be an easy one to remember.
Now, as a hitter here, you can sit on the fastball on the outer half with a middle away or middle in. With Delgado's case is a power hitter, he might sit middle in.
Time call. Weaver was about to start his motion.
Well, kids are ready to go back to school, aren't they? Pretty quick.
Not yet, they say. Not yet. Got plenty of time. Three and 1 to Delgado. And he goes with a deep right. That's gone. What a blast by Delgado. A grand slam. His 400th career home run.
Let's congratulate Carlos Delgado.
Carlos Delgado's 400th career home run, his 11th career grand slam, and for the Mets, their 9th grand slam of the year. That's a new club record, and it gets them right back in the ball game.
Slider, Ron.
Well, that is a bad pitch to have to throw. A pitcher's thinking, I need to get me over breaking ball because I'm behind in the count. And down and in to a home run hitter from the left side. Well, you get high five when that happens.
Well, this club has not quit. That's why they have the record they have and have run away with this division.
Well, so far tonight, it's been a mano-a-mano between two big sluggers, Pujols and Delgado.
Look at him hit right up at the plate. No motion forward. And I'd have to say Mr. Delgado is out and back in the groove.
Weaver strikes out right for the second out.
Now, one thing I find, Ronnie, we're talking about Weaver pitching inside to lefties, and we're going to watch it again. Look at this, straight up and down. That was beautiful. He doesn't have a fastball to come inside to lefties. It's got to be his breaking ball. Now, when you have to throw a breaking ball to come inside, you can make a mistake with it, like he did there, leave it out over the plate. You're more inclined to make a mistake with a breaking ball than the fastball.
Michael Tucker, and he lays off the strike.
The breaking ball is also always going to have a little tilt on it, so it's going to be working down and into left-handers. That is a danger zone. He was having more success when he's keeping that breaking ball in around the waist of the left-handed hitters. You cannot go down and in.
And my point being is that the pitcher can't put that breaking ball where he wants to all the time. Maybe he has more of a chance with his fastball. Even the great breaking ball pitcher, Steve Carlton, you know, who I thought was like a computer, fit into a computer. He was so awesome with the breaking stuff.
Well, the great breaking ball pitchers, they would work to get ahead with their fastball. They would maybe throw you get me over curveball, but they would get ahead with their fastball so they wouldn't have to throw their breaking ball for a strike, that they could bounce it or try to throw the real nasty backdoor pitch.
2-2 to Tucker with 2 out and nobody on. And Weaver strikes him out. The inning is over, but the Mets get right back in the ball game on Carlos Delgado's grand slam. His 400th career home run, his second of the night. Pujols for the Cardinals, Delgado for the Mets. They've done all the damage. 7-5. Well, Jeff Weaver had himself a 7-1 lead. But one big swing of Carlos Delgado's bat has sliced that down to 7-5.
Well, you know, he just, as we look at Guillermo Mota, been struggling this year, but of course in his heyday with the Dodgers, especially in 2003 when he pitched 105 innings with 99 Ks, he was outstanding. Opponent's batting average almost 300, so giving up a lot of hits per innings pitched.
And as the Cardinals come to bat here in the 6th, we're going to be joined by Mets third base coach Manny Actor from the Mets dugout. Manny, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. A little better right now.
We're watching a couple of great sluggers go mano a mano here.
Yeah, it's quite an event to watch.
Well, you know when you face Albert that you're facing one of the best hitters in baseball, and lately Carlos Delgado has just been in a wonderful hot streak.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Albert, the key should be that anytime he comes up, we shouldn't have any people on base, but you know how it is. I mean, I know the guys are trying out there, but you really don't want to see him come up with guys on bases.
Tell me what you've seen from Delgado lately that had been missing over the last couple of months.
Well, it's kind of easy to spot because when he gets into those slumps, Carlos is a little bit anxious and swinging, you know, early in the count and not seeing enough pitches. And when he goes through those good streaks, you can see that he's taking pitches that are off the plate. They're kind of close, but still off the plate. And then he gets to a point where he can get his pitch and do some damage. I've been able to notice that twice that he's been on those slumps.
You know, Manny, we saw Jose Oquendo kind of get Ronnie Belliard to try to score on that double, being very aggressive, which I think is a good thing when he got the lead. I know I watch you do that too, but with this Met team and the way they can hit the home runs with Beltran and Delgado, sometimes you have to be a little more conservative.
Yeah, absolutely, especially a day like today where we were trailing by 6 runs and stuff like that. And we kind of try to pick and choose who we do those kind of things and, you know, where we're playing at. And it depends on the score too. But I mean, they had a 2-run lead and he tried to be aggressive there. I mean, I respect Jose a lot. He does a good job and it's just part of the game.
Pretty special play by Loduca on that play at the plate.
Yeah, that's another thing. You know, people don't realize how much it takes to get a guy thrown out at the plate, especially in the relay play. First of all, the guy has to hit the first guy, and then he has to make a good throw. And this one was a short hop, and Loduca did a great play picking that up.
Runner goes, and Encarnacion with a huge jump steals second. So a runner in scoring position for Preston Wilson. Manny, when you're in a situation like you guys are in with a 13.5 game lead as you watch Encarnacion stolen base, and a team like the Cardinals comes to town, and there's every chance that your guys are going to see them in October, does it take on a special meaning, a series like this?
Oh, definitely, especially because nobody's sitting here and just thinking that we already won this. Everybody, until mathematically we clinch, we're not going to stop. But when the teams like the Cardinals come to town, this is like a way to see if we really, you know, can measure up with what we've been doing. And, you know, this is a good team that probably is going to win their division. So let's see how we match up against them and stuff like that. So it's a challenge. We could have been 500 games up, and we were going to get up for this one.
You know, man, it's also a challenge with Albert having the night he's having tonight and not seeing the Cardinals as much as you would like to see them You only see them once in their place and once here. You really have to get, the coaching staff has to get a book on how to go after a great hitter like Pujols, because in a short series, he can beat you all by himself.
Yeah, definitely. Like he's done today. I mean, he's driven in all 7 runs already. But, you know, the thing is, you fall behind in the count, or, you know, you make a mistake up here, and guys like him are going to make you pay. They're not going to fall off the pitches, and you guys know that better than me. And unfortunately today, on the first one, he was trying to, you know what he was trying to do, go the other way, get one in, move one over, and the pitch was up in the zone. And, you know, with a guy like him, that's the least he could do with it.
One more thought before we let you go, Manny. I know you've had Guillermo Mota at winter ball before. What are your thoughts about him making his Mets debut tonight?
Well, I think it's a good addition. I mean, only 3 years ago with the Dodgers, he was pretty much the best setup man in baseball up until Duane Sanchez came around, and it was they moved him over to Florida. He got hurt in Florida a little bit, and he was hurt a little bit the year before. But if he has his arm strength, had him in winter ball before, and that changeup, he can be a help here. And I don't know if you guys know, but he's a former Mets too. He used to be a shortstop in our minor league system here.
As he strikes out Preston Wilson for his first strikeout as a Met. Well, Manny, thanks very much for joining us. It's always fun to have you. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, Manny Acta, the Mets third base coach, joining us from the Mets dugout. And here's Mota striking out Wilson.
Well, that's that changeup that Acta was just talking about. 85-mile-an-hour changeup after throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastballs. You see Jeff Weaver having some problem in his digits. Middle and blister. Forefinger. Maybe a blister.
Ron Belliard waves at the off-speed pitch. 0-1.
It's a good call, Keith. Probably is a blister when it's on the end of the fingers like that.
Belliard 1 for 2. Singled in the third, then was thrown out at the plate on Molina's double. One. Adam Wainwright, the right-hander in the Cardinals bullpen. So the Mets will keep their bullpen busy with Bradford and Feliciano, adding a bullpen arm with Guillermo Mota, who had been struggling in Cleveland this year, and now making his Mets debut tonight in back of John Maine. And he throws hard. That splitter gets him ahead of Belliard 1-2.
Well, look at the action here. It's really dropping out, huh, Ron?
Yeah, he really gets on top of this pitch. And, you know, as a hitter, you got to look fastball of Mota. He throws hard enough that keeps you awake with that fastball.
Two and two. And Manny Acta mentioned Mota's history with the Mets. He was originally signed by the Mets. It's amazing that a guy that size was ever a shortstop. He's about 6'6". But of course, he also has some negative history with the Mets. He was involved in a couple of spring training dust-ups with Mike Piazza in 2002 and 2003. And I think it's fair to say that if Mike were still here, it would have been very hard to bring Mota aboard. But with Mike gone, I guess all that's in the past. Two and two to Belliard. And for whatever problems he was having in Cleveland, he's throwing 97 miles an hour.
It begs the question, if he's throwing 97 and that split finger changeup is 85 miles an hour, that is a big, huge differential between your fastball and your changeup.
It makes you wonder about his control. Is he pitching behind in the count?
Yes.
Look at Weaver. You have to wonder whether he's coming back. Having given up the Delgado grand slam. Only 94 pitches for Weaver, but they've got that bullpen cranking. His spot in the order is 2 spots away. 2-2 to Belliard. Struck him out with a splitter. Back-to-back strikeouts for Mota.
Well, nice pitch by Mota. Just
the catcher,
this ball stays right on that outside corner and goes straight down. See that grip? That's a circle change grip. And to have that kind of movement on a circle change is pretty amazing. Nice pitch by Moda.
It really does move like a splitter.
It does.
It gives a lot of sinking action. Bottom drops out.
So 2 away. Encarnacion still at second. And here's Molina. Takes the changeup low.
I'll tell you one thing, for someone that throws that hard, he loves his changeup, doesn't he, Ronnie? Well, a lot of them.
That goes back to the point you just made. Sometimes you fall in love with a pitch that's a swing and miss pitch, and you're going to make more mistakes with your changeups than you are with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Oh, the Molina.
Nice play down there.
That's why you bring your glove.
Watch this.
Oh, it looked like he took it right away from his son, though.
Oh, sign him up.
Good extension.
Send him to Rookie League tomorrow.
1-2 to Molina, and he's thrown him 3 straight changeups. This has not been the best of years for Yadier Molina. Hitting just .219, although that's a lot better than he was hitting about 2 months ago. Moda ahead 1-2. Hit hard, but right at David Wright. Makes the play to first, side retired. So a successful first outing as a Met for Guillermo Moda. He gives up a leadoff base hit, retires the next 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Cardinals go to their bullpen, 7-5 St. Louis.
99 served to Gucci.
Our Lincoln Mercury starting pitching lines, and both ugly because of the 2 long ball artists. 2 home runs by Albert Pujols off John Main, 2 home runs for Carlos Delgado off Jeff Weaver. Each of the sluggers hit a grand slam, and both starters are now done for the night, although Weaver leaves with a chance to win. So Taguchi comes in for defense in center field. Juan Encarnacion moves from center to right. Taguchi will bat 9th in the order, and on to pitch is Adam Wainwright. He'll hit in Preston Wilson's number 6 spot as Endy Chavez leads off the home 6th inning. Takes ball 1.
Well, the Mets countered with Moda, their 6-7 pitcher, and Adam Wainwright, the Cardinals 6-7 pitcher. He won a job in spring training. They wanted him to be a starter, had an outstanding minor league career as a starter, and believe someday he will be that for the Cardinals.
1-1 to Chavez. Endy is 0 for 2. He's popped to third and fly to right. Drops the bunt down. They'll never throw him out. What a great bunt by Chavez.
That was just perfect by Endy Chavez right there. Not only did he bunt it properly, killing it down the third base line, great technique, but also disguised it so well. Very, very hard to see him turn around and square with that bat. Very good bunt.
So the Mets get the tying run to the plate. They were down 7-1 in this game. It's 7-5. Chavez aboard for Woodward, who has struck out and hit a comebacker. Time called by Woodward as Wainwright held the ball. Time for the Mets home run inning, presented by Amtrak Acela Express. If the Mets hit a home run, one grand prize winner will win a trip anywhere in the Northeast with Amtrak Acela Express. To enter or see if you're a contestant, visit sny.tv/Amtrak today. Wainwright misses with the fastball, 1-0. Pitcher spot is due up next, and nice to see Jose Valentin in the on-deck circle. Did not play all weekend because of the hamstring. And Woodward foul tips the bunt. I talked to Valentin before the game tonight, and he said he did all his running maneuvers before the game. He did all his side-to-side moves to check out the hamstring, and it all felt great. He said he just wanted to give it one more day He said, it felt great while I was doing it one after the other and I was heated up. He said, I'm just a little concerned if it's the 5th inning and I haven't made a quick move about making that first quick move. So he figures he'll be playing by tomorrow.
Smart veteran. That's you know what happens to a lot of young players. They get hurt, they can't wait to get back in, and they end up hurting themselves again. So Valentin taking the right amount of time, as you see Pedro Feliciano, the left-hander in the Mets bullpen.
Well, when you've got a big lead, you can afford to be patient. It's when the races are tight, is when they rush the players back because they want to get them in as soon as possible, and that's when they get re-injured and you wind up. At this point in the season, if you're re-injured, you might be out for the rest of the year.
Yeah. You're a little surprised to see the Cardinals pitch out there with the Mets down by 2 runs?
No.
Oh, because it's La Russa?
Because Tony La Russa takes over the running game.
Good hit and run pitch too, I think, too. So I think he was saying if he put a hit and run on here with Woodward, who handles the bat good, I've got a runner that's not trying to steal a base. So we'll get him dead to rights on a 1-on-1 count.
Do you feel as though Tony takes more control of the game than most managers in that regard?
He takes the most control of the running game of any manager I ever played for, to the point that I spent one spring training with the Cardinals. I was asked by Tony La Russa after I retired, finish after this pitch, to come to his spring training for a couple of weeks and to work and explain what he wants you to do as a pitcher in stopping the running game.
So you were a coach?
Never, ever. Hard to think of myself as a coach. Ever.
3-2 to Woodward.
But I did have a uniform on. I was a little heavier. I guess I played the part of the coach.
You were a coach. Or you played one in a movie or something.
Well, I think it's a compliment to you, Ron, that La Russa would have you come and teach the pitchers, because that means that La Russa felt that you knew how to stop runners, and you had a great pickoff move. You know that.
That's for sure. Let's see if Chavez runs. 3-2, nobody out. He's holding, and it's ball 4, and the Mets have the tying runs on base. So the Mets with a chance here. They've come most of the way back, and now Valentin will come up with 2 aboard and nobody out. Tony La Russa now in his 28th season as a big league manager, and no active manager has more wins. 1 World Series title, 4 pennants. Great work that he does with animal rights.
I didn't know animals had rights.
You haven't met Tony then.
Where are we going in this country? What direction is this country going? Animals have rights?
Here's Valentin. Let's see if the Mets bunt in this spot with the tying runs on base. Roland cheating in from third. And he is bunting and fouls it off. Reyes on deck. And so at least on that first pitch, really looking to move the runners to give Reyes a chance to tie the game. See if he's still bunting here. Valentin hitting at 285. And he gets the bunt down beautifully. Roland gets the out. But you can't advance him any better than that. Now Chavez sneaking down the line with nobody looking at him. And then retreats. A great job by Valentin. Now a base hit could tie the game.
Well, you're a beautiful bunt here. You want to get the third baseman to field it. And you can't do it any better than this. You saw right there. You saw Roland position himself. He didn't want to charge, but he had to in that play.
Coaches always talk about catching the ball on your bat.
Boy, classic right there. And when you bunt to third in that situation, you have to make sure you punch it a little harder. You got to get the third baseman to field it, not the pitcher.
So 2 in scoring position for Reyes, who's 0 for 3 in this game and just 1 for his last 17. But 61 RBIs out of the leadoff spot this year. In the dirt, and Molina knocks it down. That saves a run.
Let me tell you, that was a great block by Molina. This was not an easy pick. It's a curveball in the dirt. Oh, he backhanded it, though. That's not the right way to do it.
Good
It came
result.
off.
Bad form.
Yes.
I have to tell you, he was a little lucky.
Yes. Hit his mask. And it was not the proper fundies, Gary.
I'm ready for a Joni Mitchell reference, the Bay of Fundy.
One and 0 to Reyes, who's hitting .330 with runners in scoring position. A wide strike, 1-1. James Hoy is the home plate umpire tonight, a vacation replacement. Chavez at third, Woodward at second, and 1 out. Toward the middle, glove by Belliard. Can he make a play? He does. Unbelievable play by Ronnie Belliard. A run comes home to make it 7-6. But Belliard with a great stop and then able to throw out Reyes. That's tremendous.
What a play right here. Saving the second run from scoring. He knows he has no time to set himself with a speedy Reyes. That's just a fine play.
Well, that's the second time in this game Reyes has been robbed.
Beautiful play. Look at that. His momentum carrying him to left field. What a play.
Well, Reyes gets the run in, but there's still the tying run standing at third base with 2 out for LaDuca. And he bounces one to short. And Miles has the play, throws high, but handled by Pujols, and that ends the inning. Well, it started with a bunt single by Chavez, and the Mets get a run in to cut the Cardinal lead to 1, but Belliard kept the Mets from tying it.
Matt Yaloff here with a Chevrolet Baseball Night in New York update. Orioles and Twins, and what a night for Nick Markakis. This is his first home run of the night. He has 3 of them. The Orioles lead the Twins 6-1 in the 8th. Gary?
All right, thanks very much, Matt. The Twins a half game behind the White Sox in that wild card coming into play tonight. White Sox trailing in Detroit 4-0. So that might give the Red Sox a chance to get a little closer after their weekend disaster against the Yankees. Boston's at Anaheim tonight as you look at Pedro Feliciano.
Well, lowest ERA of National League relievers. Feliciano just had a great season out of making the team out of spring training, then not making the team, and then being called back up. So only 47 hits in those 48 innings.
So Taguchi, the first man up against Feliciano. Reyes guns down Taguchi, 1 away.
The shortstop, Aaron Miles.
Here's Aaron Miles with 1 out. Miles 1 for 2 and a walk. And he takes a strike. That missed somewhere. 1-1.
Well, coming into this game, Miles is hitting 40 points lower as a right-handed hitter. His left-handed side is his best.
There's a strike, 1 and 2. Randy Flores, who was up earlier, gets up in the Cardinal bullpen. 2-2. And Chad Bradford staying loose for Albert Pujols, who's 2 batters away. Never without a bat in his hand. 2-2 to Miles, and he misses with a backdoor breaking ball. Well, Mets.com is reporting, and apparently it's about to happen, that the Mets have acquired Shawn Green from the Arizona Diamondbacks. We have not yet heard about how they're going to handle the money issues. In other words, how much of the salary the Diamondbacks will pick up. Did he go? He stopped the swing, and Miles draws the walk. 1 out and 1 on.
Well, here's a look from the top. See if he broke his wrist. Well, you know what? They call it so much today, Ron, that I'm just shocked they didn't ring him up. But my mind right there, he didn't break his wrist, but he didn't go.
Maybe the question is, on a 3-2 pitch, Aaron Miles not a home run hitter. Maybe you'd like to challenge him there with a fastball. That might be, you know, make more sense instead of trying to trick him.
Here's Chris Duncan, and he takes a strike. Well, the Mets have now officially announced that they've acquired Shawn Green. It just was handed to us. The Mets have given up minor league left-hander Evan McClain, who was 9-8 at Norfolk this year. Breaking ball, and Duncan way out in front. And we still don't know how the salaries are being handled. Again, Shawn Green acquired by the Mets tonight for minor league left-hander Evan McClain. Shawn Green, 33 years old, hitting .283 for Arizona this year, 11 homers, 51 RBIs.
Well, Duncan hitting .222 with only 2 home runs against left-handers. And you got to believe that Feliciano is not going to face the guy in the on-deck circle.
1-2 to Duncan. Just missed with the fastball. 2-2.
So if you all want to go for a beer or a soda in the refrigerator, get ready.
Two and 2 to Duncan. Breaking ball misses. 3-2. A couple of very close pitches, not called strikes by James Hoy, and now it's 3-2.
Well, Willie, you should be hot. That is the strike. I mean, literally, that ball comes on the inside corner.
Ooh, it broke around the plate.
Yeah, well, close. James Hoy has had a big strike zone all night long. Seems to tighten it up here a little in the 7th inning.
Well, there have been 3 pitches now that Feliciano's thrown that easily could have been called strikes and were not. Let's see if Miles runs. He does not, and Duncan fouls it off. More on the Shawn Green trade. The Mets announced that they have gotten cash considerations from the Diamondbacks, but they haven't said how much. Again, Green has a $9.5 million contract for next year, a $10 million option for 08 with a $2 million buyout. And the Mets also announced that to make room for Green on the 40-man roster, Victor Diaz has been designated for assignment, taken off the 40-man roster. And the breaking ball, low, ball 4. Well, Feliciano walks Miles and Duncan. He certainly deserved better against Duncan. But now there are 2 men on for Pujols, who's already hit 2 home runs and driven in 7 runs tonight. His assignment will be Chad Bradford's.
That says it all.
I feel your pain.
That's a big oh no right there. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Wireless. You too can make the switch over to the most reliable network, Verizon Wireless.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Sterling Mets and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mets.
Get your Mets season ticket pack to guarantee your seats for all 15 September home games and secure a ticket purchase option for all 2006 postseason games at Shea. Go to Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX to get your season ticket pack now. Chad Bradford takes over the pitching. His assignment, get out a guy who's driven in 7 runs in his last 2 at-bats.
Well, let me tell you, Chad Bradford has done it all season long. Certainly, this will be one of his biggest challenges this year, facing Albert Pujols, one of the best hitters in baseball, on a night he's hot.
Miles at second, Duncan at first, and 1 out. Pujols with a 3-run homer in the 4th, a grand slam in the 5th. Now comes up with 2 men on in the 7th.
Let's see if he runs sinkers at him.
Goes away and finds the corner.
That was not intentional. That was meant to be a sinker down and in.
But Chad Bradford always shows you that he's aggressive with the first pitch. He tries to get that strike 1.
Pujols to short, should be 2. Reyes to Woodward and on to first. Double play, side retired. Woodward got flipped by Duncan at second base. He's okay. So is Bradford, who got the job done. Aggressive slide by Duncan took out Woodward, and the Mets get through the top of the 7th. A beautiful night in New York, and the Mets and Cardinals meeting at Shea for the first time this year, and it's been a battle of the sluggers. 2 home runs for Pujols, 2 home runs for Delgado, each with a grand slam. Delgado's 400th career home run, and the Mets, who were down 7-1 in this game, fighting back. It's 7-6 in favor of the Cardinals as the Mets send up the heart of the batting order in the bottom of the 7th inning. And they'll do it against the lefty Randy Flores.
Appearing in his 56nd game, but he hasn't had an appearance in 6 days.
Beltran 0 for 3 tonight. And came up with the bases loaded his last time up and hit a comebacker into a force play. And Flores falls behind him 2-0. It'll be Beltran, then Delgado, who already has 2 home runs tonight, including his 11th career grand slam. There's a fastball, strike 2 and 1 from Flores. You know, the headline tomorrow will be that the Mets have acquired Shawn Green, and that certainly is a useful acquisition for this team. And they'll mention that Evan McClain, who was really not considered a big prospect, the lefty who was having a good year at Norfolk, will go the other way, and that the Diamondbacks will pick up a certain percentage of the money due to Green over the next 2 years. Lost in all that will be the news that Victor Diaz has been designated for assignment, which means for all intents and purposes he's gone from the Mets organization. You talk about a guy whose star plummeted.
The fall from grace can happen quickly in this game. Happened to Diaz.
Beltran to shortstop. Miles throws him out, 1 away.
Well, here was the takeout at second base in that inning-ending double play. Didn't get there in time, but that's all clear. That is all good stuff. That's clean baseball.
The grab of the leg was okay.
You're going to get away with that. He's already thrown the ball. Look at Willie, a former second baseman. He appreciates that. He's probably telling that he grabbed me.
Well, here's Delgado with the Mets down by a run. He's already homered twice tonight, and he takes a slider for a strike. Delgado with a solo shot in the 2nd and a monstrous grand slam in the 5th. His 400th career home run. Now it's 31 for the year and 85 RBI. And Flores gets ahead of him 0-2.
And that's that follow through, the Walt Heriniak follow through.
That's right. I almost forgot that follow through. Gedman and other people in that time when Walt was the hitting coach for the Red Sox.
To left center, shallow, Duncan in, and he picks it off. Throws in the slide for artistic purposes. 2 away.
Only gets a good jump on this ball. He's 2 for 3 tonight. He's caught 2 and dropped 1.
Yeah, he took his eye off the ball, didn't he?
Took his eyes or closed his eyes. Maybe it got in the lights.
As we check out the Hyundai in-game box score, Delgado has been front and center tonight with his 2 home runs. He's driven in 5 of the 6 Met runs. Loduca with a couple of hits. Reyes had an RBI ground out. He's been robbed twice in this game, and right goes the other way to deep right, but Encarnacion is there, and that ends the inning. Right hitting the ball hard, but it's been another unproductive night for David. He's gone 0 for 4, and the Mets still down by a run. Former President Clinton enjoying the game from his front row seat here at Shea tonight.
Looks like he can use some just for men.
Maybe you can go down and plug it for him.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, I've got a product that you might like to try.
I have a great fascination for men that let their hair turn silver now as I'm on my way.
I wish I had that problem. Scott Rowland leads off the 8th inning against Chad Bradford, who came on and did his job brilliantly in the 7th. Came in with 2 men on and got Albert Pujols to ground into an inning-ending double play.
I can't say enough good things about Chad Bradford. He shows you not only he throws strikes, but he has a lot of guts.
Former Met Braden Looper up in the St. Louis bullpen. And that slow slider pulled foul.
Man, that's where that guy caught the ball last time. Someone get hurt there? I'm telling you. I don't know how they don't get hurt more. That was a bullet in there. How about that?
Got the ball and no blood. Everybody's fine. 1 and 2 to Rowland. Rowland 0 for 3 tonight, has not had the ball out of the infield. Juan Encarnacion on deck, and then the pitcher's spot here in the top of the 8th. The left center. Easy play for Beltran. 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on. Juan Encarnacion coming up. If you missed the news earlier today, Tom Glavine is going to be good to go. For all the fears about the potential of a season-ending medical problem, it turns out that Glavine's condition in his left arm was the result of an old injury that was producing scar tissue that formed a couple of minor blood clots to form in his fingers. As Encarnacion drives one to the gap in left center, that's an extra base hit. Encarnacion heads to second in standing with a double, his 21st of the year. Anyway, the condition Glavine has is going to be treated with baby aspirin, of all things. He should be ready for baseball activity in a couple of days and ready to pitch in 7 to 10 days, which is about as good a result as the Mets could possibly have hoped for. As Tony La Russa looks for a pinch hitter.
Where's my left-handed bench? Where's Timo Perez, Scott Spezio, and Jim Edmonds? There's Timo.
Now this is going to be Timo's first at bat here at Shea Stadium since the Mets let him go. I wonder what kind of reaction he'll get. Timo, who was with the Mets for 4 years.
Pinch hitting for the Cardinals, number 19, Timo Perez.
A few cheers.
Mixed.
A few boos. And a few who sat on their hands.
Well, it's not the way to endear yourself with your manager when it's an obvious pinch hitting situation with the pitcher and you're not on the bench.
Well, he just joined the ball club. He was just called up. And Timo, who has himself a World Series ring after playing with the White Sox last year, will be intentionally walked. Now, did I miss the tribute video for Timo?
No tribute video.
You know, the Mets don't get to the World Series in 2000 without Timo Perez.
You're right.
Now, he may have made a base running boo-boo in
Game 1
of the World Series, and he might not have had a very good series against the Yankees, but he was brilliant against the Giants and the Cardinals in the 2 series leading up to that. In fact, I think he scored 8 runs in 5 games against the Cardinals in the League Championship Series.
It's such a critical game, that first game in that 2000 World Series. Boy, if the Mets could have won that game, the first game in Yankee Stadium, that could have changed the whole complexion of that series. And we all remember Todd Zeil's double off the top of the wall. And Timo was assuming that it was over the fence.
And he wound up being thrown out on the plate on a great relay by Derek Jeter. There's Tyler Johnson, the left-hander, joining Braden Looper in the Cardinal bullpen. And Ron Belliard takes a strike. But remember the other thing that happened on that play, if you remember the video of it. Timo slows up, celebrating, thinking it's a home run. But Todd Zeile was celebrating coming around first base, pumping his fist in the air. He thought it was a home run, too. To third should be a double play. Right to second for one. Woodward to first. Scooped out by Delgado. Double play. Side retired. Delgado 2 home runs and a big scoop. Woodward turns over another one as Bradford generates his second double play in 2 innings. Well, you may have heard that this September the WB11 is changing into the new CW11. So what does this mean to fans of the WB11 news? Well, the name of the station may be changing, but the CW11 will still be the place to find your favorite news shows in the morning and at night. Let's check in with Chris Cotter. Chris?
Well, as Michael Tucker comes up to the plate here in the bottom of the 8th inning, if you've been watching the game, you know former President Bill Clinton is in attendance. And before the game, he paid a visit to the Mets clubhouse. And I asked Jose Reyes afterward, I said, hey, did he give you any inspirational speeches? Because that's what he does now. He writes and he goes on the walking tour, the speaking tour. And he said, no, he just took pictures with everybody. So it was a little disappointing as Michael Tucker gets plunked and heads to first base. But the former commander-in-chief didn't give the Mets any inspiration. But if you'll notice, sitting right by him is his brother and his nephew, and they're wearing Cardinals gear. So maybe that's why.
Wow.
Well, Clinton grew up, former President Clinton grew up in Arkansas. They have a AA team, Little Rock in Arkansas. A lot of people in Arkansas are Cardinal fans.
And Hillary grew up a Cubs fan.
That's right.
That's quite a rivalry in that family. So the Mets get the tying run on as Tyler Johnson, the young left-hander, comes in and plunks Michael Tucker with his first pitch. You expect Andy Chavez to bunt here against the lefty. And he gets it down. Johnson, though, looks at second, turns down the play. He might have had him had he made the throw, but he let Tucker go, and now the tying run in scoring position.
Oh, it's called Archie Bell in the drills here. He's turned, ready to throw. Just doesn't have. I think I'll play safety first.
He had him. That's the tighten up.
Yes.
Archie Bell in the drill.
Yes.
He had that play. But one of the things that the Cardinals do is Duncan comes out to pull Johnson for the right-hander Braden Looper. The Cardinals play very conservative on the bunt. Tony La Russa's always been like that.
And this is Braden Looper's return to Shea Stadium.
Acura RDX with super handling all-wheel drive. The all-new Acura RDX with real-time traffic.
Geico Sports Night on Sportsnet New York. The news and information source for all New York area sports fans. 3 shows a night. The destination for the latest news on every area team. Geico Sports Night covers the stories that New York sports fans care about. Our reporters and anchors will deliver to you live from Studio 51 at Rockefeller Center West. If it happens in New York, it happens on Geico Sports Night. 6 p.m., 10 p.m., and 1 a.m. every night. Only on Sportsnet New York.
Get your New York sports here.
The Mets continue their series with Albert Pujols and the Cardinals tomorrow and Thursday at 7:10 p.m. Then be at Shea Friday at 7:10 for the start of a weekend series with the Phillies. Go to Mets.com now for your print at home tickets.
And yes, folks, that's the Curly Shuffle.
Well, it worked on Saturday night when they played it.
I am so glad they brought this back.
Well, speaking of bringing back, this brought back memories for Met fans when Braden Looper was announced into the game, and he was not exactly afforded a hero's welcome.
Well, he was the closer for the Mets last year, has become the setup man to Isringhausen. As you see the Mets, they have Wagner up in case the Mets go ahead, Heilman up if they're still down by a run.
Well, Braden Looper last year struggled. Turned out that he had pitched the entire season with an injury to his AC joint in his shoulder. And he had that corrected surgically after the season. And the reason he didn't have it before is because he felt too much responsibility to miss 6 weeks during the season. The manager knew about it. The pitching coach knew about it. Everybody on the team knew about it. But nobody said anything publicly the entire season until Looper revealed the injury the last series of the year, which I thought was phenomenal on his part, that he took all the abuse that he took last year without ever telling the public that he was hurt.
Boy, that makes you think twice as a fan, as a person that does our job, and also that makes them a great teammate to be able to do that.
Yep. Here's Chris Woodward, and he dribbles one out in front of the plate. Molina pounces on it. 2 away. Over to third goes Tucker.
You know, not that I'm a genius, but I recall in April, and you can see Molina just pouncing on this little dribbler in front. Easy play. But I noticed in late April, early May that he said his delivery was different. And I said it on TV, you know, not that I'm a genius. There's certain things you get used to see how he was a different delivery. Yep. I said, it looks like something's wrong with him. But we didn't know anything about it.
No, we talked about on the radio last year, too, that his delivery looked weird, that it looked like he was hurt. But he never let on. He was asked repeatedly last year whether he was hurt. Always said no. Always took the ball. Understood what his role was on the team. And kept taking the ball.
And I got to see him in limited action and did not see what you guys saw. All I saw was his pitch selection. I saw him throw so many fastballs over and over that my question was, I thought he had a good breaking ball. Why doesn't he throw it? Well, that was the reason.
Because he couldn't get on top of the ball to get it down because of the injury. Well, Julio Franco will turn 48 years of age tomorrow. He can give himself and his team an early birthday present if he can come through here as a pinch hitter with the tying run at third base and 2 out. Tucker 90 feet away. Looper returning to his old haunts and trying to keep the Cardinals in front.
Boy, there's nothing more difficult than that 2-out RBI. Franco trying to pick it up here.
Franco 4 for 11 in his career against Looper. Most of that as a Brave, against Looper as a Met. There's a strike. Tucker was hit by a pitch leading off the inning. He's moved to third on a sacrifice and a ground ball. And Looper ahead on Franco, 0-2. Jose Reyes hoping for a turn on deck, but right now it's in the hands of Franco, and he's down in the count 0-2.
You'll notice the infield defense is kind of fairly straight up. You think that with 2 strikes in particular, you'd move the shortstop over. Second baseman Belliard definitely get him over.
On the outside corner, strike 3 call. Looper gets Franco looking. A successful return to Shea for Looper, and he keeps the Cardinals in a 1-run lead.
Matt Yaloff here with a Chevrolet Baseball Night in New York update. Astros and Reds, and it's all Reds. Scott Hatteberg with a 3-run blast to put the Reds up 4-0. They've added 10 since. It's 14-0 in the ninth. Gary.
All right, Matt, so the Reds with a chance to extend their wild card lead, which was 2 games over the Padres, started the night. Florida leading Washington 7-4. Milwaukee up on Colorado 2-0. The Phillies trying to survive the loss of Aaron Rowan, 2.5 back in the wild card and leading at Wrigley Field. Later tonight, the Dodgers and Padres. Padres won last night to get within 3 games of LA, and Arizona playing at San Francisco. Aaron Howman on to pitch the top of the 9th for New York.
Well, Howman could not have been any better as he's gotten this 8th inning work after Sanchez was hurt. 26 walks, 58 strikeouts.
And he'll try and keep this a 1-run game as he takes on Yadier Molina, who takes the changeup for ball 1. Molina 1 for 3 on the night. He doubled in the 5th. Belliard tried to score from first on the play and was thrown out. And he rips one foul. And a great catch again.
Eyes closed, I believe.
We have seen 2 spectacular plays down there.
Let's see if he.
Oh. What'd you say when you were kids? Look what I found.
The guy behind him is very happy that that didn't go right through his glove.
Yeah. Still a good play.
Yes, it was. Molina out ahead of the changeup again, 1-2.
Whoa, the lady on the right was bailing. Incoming. Look at the right.
I'd be bailing too if I didn't have a glove.
And back to what we always see. Right to the cell phone as soon as a play is made.
I'm on TV. 2-2 to Molina. Well, another former Met, Jason Isringhausen, getting set to try and close it out for the Cardinals. Struck him out. Howman fans Molina, 1 down in the top of the 9th.
Well, beautiful changeup here, pulling the string on Molina. Thought to be the best offensive player of the 3 Molina brothers, but has struggled through a difficult year.
In 2006, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York are teaming up to strike out cancer. For every K the Mets pitching staff registers, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York will donate $25 to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund. If you'd like to help, please go to www.hopeandheroes.org. So Taguchi up for the 2nd time, grounded out to short in the 7th after coming on in a double switch. 1-1. Well, the Mets will be up against Isringhausen in the 9th inning, and Izzy has been far from perfect this year.
He's had 8 blown saves, although he's the all-time leader for the Cardinals in saves.
1-2 to Taguchi.
You know, guys, they said that one of the problems he's had a couple of years ago, he developed a cutter a la Mariano Rivera, and he's been very inconsistent with it this year.
In there for a call, strike 3. Howman gets Taguchi looking at the fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Aaron Howman.
Well, he must have been looking for the change because he got caught here.
The shortstop,
got set up. Nice pitch.
Yeah, Howman added a little grunt on that 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Was he sleeping?
No, I think he was just studying.
7-6 game and falling asleep.
Aaron Miles takes ball 1. Miles has been aboard 3 times in a row, singled in 2 walks. He scored 2 runs. And Howman has him out in front, 1-1. John Maine started this game. He got tagged for 2 Albert Pujols home runs, a 3-run homer and a grand slam, 7 runs in 5 innings. The bullpen's been solid so far. Chad Bradford did great work. Guillermo Mota, a scoreless inning in his Mets debut. But so far the Mets have been unable to catch all the way up from a 7-1 deficit. They'll try and do that against Isringhausen in the bottom of the 9th. Down to Delgado, and a 1-2-3 inning for Howman. So Howman does his job, and now it's up to the Mets to try and get it done with the top of the batting order. Reyes, LaDuca, and Beltran due up against Isringhausen in the bottom of the 9th. New York Mets Baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Jeep, the all-new 7-passenger Jeep Commander. It's your world. Take command. By BMW, the ultimate driving machine. By Crank, starring Jason Statham. Raise your adrenaline in theaters everywhere September 1st. And by the New York State Smokers Quit line. Call 1-866-NY-QUITS for free help and advice. Start your smoke-free life today. As we check out tonight's AOL game summary. After the pitch to Jose Reyes. And he takes ball 1 from Jason Isringhausen. There's the AOL game summary. The Pujols and Delgado show. 7 RBIs for Pujols, 5 for Delgado. Reyes is 0 for 4. He's driven in a run with a ground out. Twice he's been robbed of hits in this game. Once by Chris Duncan in left field, once by Ron Belliard at second base.
Well, Isringhausen, one of the elite savers since year 2000. Third on the list with 237 saves.
And Belliard throws out Reyes for the first out. There's a huge out for Isringhausen.
Boy, you just took the words right out of my mouth. That is a huge out. Is there an echo in here?
I believe the word was huge. So here's Loduca. Isringhausen has blown 8 saves this year. He's given up 9 home runs. Those are not good closers' numbers. Loduca 2 for 4 tonight. That's a run shy in the 9th. Ball 1. Carlos Beltran waiting on deck. Isringhausen now 33 years old. Part of Generation K, much heralded. Came up to the big leagues in '95, went 9-2 that year as a starter, but then injuries intruded, and the Mets finally dealt him to Oakland in '99, and that's where he became a closer. And a terrific one. To center field, in comes Taguchi off the plate on a hop, and it gets by him only briefly. He just got enough of that ball to prevent it from really getting behind him. So Loduca has his 3rd hit.
Well, nice try by Taguchi. He realizes he can't get to it, but he almost botched it here. Took his eye off the ball before he had it. Boy, lucky he didn't get by him.
So 1 out and 1 on. And here's Beltran, where 1 swing could win it for New York. He whips it to deep right. That ball is out of here! Out of here! The Mets win the ball game! Beltran with a walk-off 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th. We talked at the beginning of this game about this potentially being an MVP showdown. For most of the night, it belonged to Pujols. The last shot belonged to Beltran.
Well, 0 for 4 on the night and being very quiet, but gets the game-winning 2-run shot and says, hey, I'm a candidate too. Clutch out. Oh.
talk about an emphatic jump on home plate.
He's got hops. Wow.
And he's got a smile that was never seen in 2005, but has been oft-witnessed in 2006. 36 homers for Beltran, 103 RBIs, 2 home runs for Carlos Delgado. The game winner for Carlos Beltran, trumping 7 RBIs for Albert Pujols. And the Mets win it in walk-off fashion for the 10th time this year. Let's go to Chris Cotter.
Carlos, 10th time you guys have won it in the last at-bat. You guys never stop believing you can get it done, do you?
Well, our team is a team that we're never going to quit. You know, no matter how far we are in the game, we're going to try to come back. And I just want to thank my Lord for letting me come through in that particular at-bat. You know, we win today's ball game. It's always great every time you win the first game out of the series.
7-1, though. You guys were trailing in this game, and it was a Pujols show. You guys put a stop to that, though.
Well, he's a dangerous hitter. You know, that's why he's one of the best. You know, every time he connects the ball, it's almost home run all the time. So, you know, he hit the grand slam, a home run with 2 guys on. So, but like I said, you know, we were able to come back and we win this one.
Isringhausen's one of the best closers in the game. Take me through that at-bat.
Well, in that particular at-bat, I know his best pitch is a quarter, so I was trying to, you know, step a little bit away from the plate, and he threw me one right in the middle of the plate, and I was able to, you know, hit it. And as soon as I hit it, I know it was going to be out of the ballpark, so I was very happy about it.
All right, thanks, Carlos.
Thank you.
All right, Gary.
All right, thanks, Chris. It's the first time this year the Mets have come from 6 runs down to win, and they do it on the bats of the Carloses.
Well, great job by the offense of the Mets to come back in that game. Great job after John Main of the bullpen again coming through for the Mets with 4 shutout innings.
Well, do you think that Carlos Beltran, all this talk of Giambi comeback player of the year, well, we got a guy down there, the Mets, that's a comeback player of the year as well as an MVP candidate.
Well, he certainly put in his bid with that last swing off Jason Isringhausen and gives the Mets an 8-7 win over the Cardinals in the opening game of this series. Be sure to join us for our next Mets broadcast tomorrow night at 7 as the Mets continue their series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Coming up next is Nissan Post-Game Live. What a ball game here at Shea tonight. Opener of 3 between the Mets and Cardinals. Chris Duncan played defense early, and then Carlos Delgado got it going. Albert Pujols had a big night in his own right, a 3-run homer and a grand slam. Delgado responded with a grand slam of his own, a great play at the plate. But when it all was said and done, it was Carlos Beltran's 2-run walk-off home run off Jason Isringhausen in the bottom of the 9th that wins it for New York 8-7. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, Chris Cotter, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen. Let's go to Matt Yaloff. He's standing by in our Sportsnet New York studios.
Thank you very much, Gary Cohen. Coverage of the Mets continues here with Nissan Post-Game Live. We'll break this whole thing down. Mets and Cardinals in an amazing game of power display put on by 3 of the best power hitters in all the National League. You'll hear from Willie Randolph as well. And then, of course, Geico Sports Night follows Nissan Post-Game Live with an update on Tom Glavine. You'll hear from the Mets lefty. Big day, plus a big Mets trade. It's all coming up after a break. Well, the 2 best teams in the NL slug it out in Flushing. What a day at Shea. Welcome to Nissan Post-Game Live. Matt Yaloff here. Early in the day, the Mets found out Tom Glavine is good to go in about a week or so. Then during the game, the Mets announced a trade. We'll get to that. And if that wasn't enough, 3 of the best power hitters in the league put on a display under the lights at Shea Stadium. Highlights, Cardinals and Mets in Game 1 of a 3-game set. Yeah, maybe a playoff preview. Definitely a former president in attendance. And John Main looking to get over the 500 mark. He has been great facing Albert Pujols. There's 1. There's 2. And then Albert Pujols, look at that. He gets him, goes up top with an 86-mile-an-hour pitch. Pujols 0 for 8 against the Mets this season. There's Jeff Weaver. Wild season for Weaver. Started with the Angels. Ineffective. He's come over to the Cardinals. And here he is with Jose Reyes. And check out Chris Duncan. laying out for the sake of team. Beautiful catch. Duncan, the son of Cardinals pitching coach Dave Duncan, and Weaver on the mound. He says, that's my man out there in left. And then Carlos Delgado, I guess he's out of that slump. He crushes this one over the wall. The Mets are up 1-0. The 10th consecutive season for Delgado with at least 30 home runs. How about it? 4th inning, Duncan rips it down into the right field corner. The Cardinals are in business. They have runners on 2nd and 3rd. Albert Pujols. They pitch to Pujols, 2nd and 3rd, and he makes them pay. His 37th of the year. The other way, it's a blast to right center. It's 3-1. 5th inning, Ronnie Belliard on. Yadier Molina. This goes to left, and it hops the wall, or into the wall. Michael Tucker gets it to Reyes. Check out this play by Paul Lo Duca. Unbelievable. A backhand short hop.
And they'll see if he got him right here. This is the good angle. Yes.
And then tags his man out at the plate. An incredible play by Paul Lo Duca. He has been a rock. But after striking out Weaver, Maine walks Aaron Miles, and then he walks Duncan. So the bases are loaded for Albert Pujols again. 3-1 game, John Maine. This is a key point in the game, obviously, and you got to be kidding, right? That's a grand slam home run, the 5th career grand slam for Pujols. It's a 7-1 lead. He's driven in all 7 at that point. After Ricky Leday pinch hit and walked Reyes with a fly ball to shallow left center, no man's land. Duncan can't come up with it, so the Mets are in business. Lo Duca singled, then Carlos Beltran. Back to the pitcher. Check out Weaver. The soft underhand toss. They get 1, but they don't get 2. It's only 1 out in the inning. So the bases are loaded, and Carlos Delgado steps up to the plate.
3-1 to Delgado. And he goes with a deep right. That's gone. What a blast by Delgado. A grand slam. His 400th career home run.
Carlos Delgado digs in. He's driven in 5. Pujols driven in 7. His 400th career home run, the 42nd player ever to reach that mark. How about Guillermo Mota? He is in, making his Mets debut. Mota strikes out former Met Preston Wilson, and then Belliard swinging, so Mota gets out of the inning unscathed. Bottom of the 6th, after Endy Chavez reached on a bunt single and a Woodward walk, Jose Valentin does his job, gets the bunt down, and Jose Reyes, ground ball, great play by Belliard. He gets Reyes, 1 run comes in, keeps it in the infield. Could have been a tie game, but it's not. 7th inning, Pedro Feliciano walked 2 batters, so Chad Bradford's in. He faces Albert Pujols, and he gets him. 6-4-3. That is a huge play in this game, as you'll see in just a bit. Enter Braden Looper. They're saying, we love you, Braden. A chorus of, really it was boos, but Looper gets through the 8th, protects the 1-run Cardinals lead. Into the bottom of the 9th, another former Met, Jason Isringhausen, on to close. Lo Duca keeps this game going with a single to center field. He stays at first on the miscue by Taguchi. The tying run on base. The potential winning run is out. Carlos Beltran, number 36 on the season, and the Mets win it. Carlos Beltran, a battle of potential MVPs. Beltran has the last word. The Mets win it in dramatic fashion, 8-7. They come back to beat the Cardinals. Entertainment value, you cannot beat it. Albert Pujols, 7 RBIs. Carlos Delgado, 5 RBIs. Carlos Beltran, 2 RBIs. It's the 9th time this season that the 2 Carloses have homered in the same game. And how about more on Delgado now? We told you about the 400 home runs in his career. He now has 11 grand slams, and this season, 14 of his home runs, with 2 tonight, have come at Shea. 17 of them have come on the road. Albert Pujols, clearly the story as far as the Cardinals are concerned. He surpasses the 100 RBI mark for the season. That is 6 straight years now of 100 or more. He's reached the century mark every year he has been in the league. That is absolutely amazing. Now, coming into tonight's game, Albert Pujols was hitless against the Mets this year. He made up for lost time, shellacking John Maine. That was the 3-run home run in the 4th inning that went the other way. Just amazing power. Then a few innings later, really it's the next inning, 5th inning, with the bases loaded, Albert Pujols does it again. He is a one-man wrecking crew. In all, 38 home runs, 105 RBIs, for one of the top candidates for MVP. So John Maine now knows what dozens of other pitchers already know. If you make a mistake or two against Albert, he will make you pay, and the ERA can skyrocket. Maine suffers his worst outing since the All-Star break, no doubt. 5 innings, 7 runs. His ERA goes from 2.68 to 3.58. But you know what? The pen comes in, and as they have done all year long, they have come through. Don't forget about Chad Bradford with an amazing at-bat against Albert Pujols to induce the double play. Clearly a key at-bat in this game. All right, now, aside from the game, the Mets incredibly busy today. With all that, they trade for Shawn Green. It's official. The 33-year-old, along with cash, comes from the Diamondbacks to New York in exchange for minor league lefty Evan McClain. So outfield help is on the way. It's been thin. Nady was traded. Cliff Floyd is injured. Green is set to make $9.5 million next year, and there's an option for 08 in which he can earn $10 million, and there's a $2 million buyout on that option. So Shawn Green on his way to the Mets, and he brings these numbers to the big city. 11 homers, 51 RBIs. This is a month-by-month breakdown. Now, way back when, Green was a star with the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. 3 seasons with 40 or more home runs, 4 seasons with 100 RBIs or more. Shawn Green, officially a member of the New York Mets. Still ahead on Nissan Postgame Live. We go back out to Shea. We talk to Ron and Keith. There are a few topics we may want to get to. We'll bring you highlights from around the league as well. And Willie Randolph checks in with his postgame press conference. It's all coming your way on Nissan Postgame Live. Back here on Nissan Postgame Live, we're in Midtown Manhattan. We go out to Shea now, where Keith and Ron are standing by after just a fantastic game. Tough to beat entertainment-wise, guys. And, boy, you talked a lot about this MVP race. If you guys had a vote right now, who are you voting for?
Well, we still got 5 weeks, so you have to get some.
No, you don't. Right now.
I think they both made a statement tonight. I mean, obviously, with Beltran, the game winner. I mean, Pujols with the 7 RBIs, the grand slam, the 2 bombs. I think it's a dead heat.
Well, I think that Beltran's a little bit ahead just because of the Mets and their mastery in their division. I think that helps him be a little bit ahead of Pujols. But like Keith said, there's so much time left. There's a lot of at-bats there for both Beltran, Pujols, Delgado. There's other people out there that have had a great season.
Hey, as far as Albert Pujols is concerned, Ron, in relation to John Maine, you know, you could look at this as this is a nice education for John Maine. He may very well face these guys in the postseason.
Yeah, you don't want an education like that, though. That was a beatdown. When you watch Pujols, if you don't make your pitches, of course, you're going to get beat. He's that strong. And I think the problem was not the home runs as much against Pujols, because those are bad enough. But, you know, he certainly didn't want to walk Miles and Duncan in front of Pujols. You just can't do that kind of thing. You want to face Pujols as many times in the game as you can without runners on base.
Hey, Keith, Shawn Green, you guys know, you talked about it during the game. Shawn Green's on the way. He's a Met. What does he have left, and what can he offer this team at this stage in his career, 33 years old?
Well, 33, you're kind of on the your prime is your last year of your prime, really, 33 years of age. So he keeps himself in good shape. Maybe this will rejuvenate him, put him right with the team in first place. More importantly, we talked during the game, guys, is that 3, 4, and 5 in the order is set. It's going to be the switch hitting Beltran, the left-hand hitting Delgado, a right-hand hitter behind the left-hand hitting Delgado and right, and now we got a left-hander in the 6th position that's going to get behind right, put Floyd out, and that's why I think this trade was made. You got a little left-hand hitter behind David Wright now to protect him.
And you mentioned Delgado in that little grouping there in the middle of the Mets order. From a hitter's perspective, Keith, and then Ron, from a pitcher's perspective, put 400 home runs into some type of something for us so we have a sense of how good Delgado really is.
Well, there's not too many guys, last time I looked, that hit 400 home runs in a career. That's a great milestone. You know, he's struggled here, but all good hitters, the cream comes to the top in this game. That's the one beauty of baseball on a 162-game schedule. The cream comes to the top, whether it's an individual or a team. And Delgado now has got his stroke back. I think he's out of this slump, and I think he's going to have a terrific finish.
And to tell you from a pitcher's perspective is that You love the history of the game when guys do it year after year after year. That's the kind of player that Carlos Delgado is. When you go into a season, at the end of the year, he's going to have 30-plus and close to 100 RBIs. So those are the guys that are attractive to a team, a guy who has to hit in the middle of the lineup, which is a tough place to hit, that he's consistent year in and year out, and that's Delgado.
And now he's right on the cusp of playing in the postseason for the first time, so this has got to be an exciting time for Carlos Delgado. Hey, Chad Bradford, guys, no one's going to talk about this, but what a job he did again getting Pujols with men on. I mean, this guy just has ice water in his veins this season.
Yeah, he does. He has nerves of steel. Every time he comes in with runners on base, he has the ability to pitch out of the jams. And how does he do it? Because I think he stays focused. I think he does not get nervous. He just tries to execute his pitches. Against Pujols tonight, he was not afraid to throw that first pitch right down Broadway, strike one. Then he came in with the sinker, which you have to do against Albert to try to tie him up inside. It worked effectively getting the double play. But Bradford, who got 2 double plays tonight, has been doing this all season long.
And don't forget, too, the defensive play out there by Michael Tucker and Jose Reyes and LaDuca in the 5th inning, right before the grand slam to that Pujols hit. That's a run that scores if you miss a cutoff man or you botch that play, and this is why. And you cut off that run, it's a tie ball game. That run scores, and maybe they win. They score more runs from that. So that's kind of the little things the Mets have done all year, and that's why they're running away with this division.
A few hours ago, Tom Glavine was the lead story. A lot's happened since then, but how about some thoughts on the news on Glavine? He will be back, and what that can do for a clubhouse.
Well, I still think he is the story, right, Matt and Keith, and I think are just happy. I mean, sometimes stories become more than a baseball story. They become a family story because, I'm certainly not only Tom, but his family was worried about the outcome of these angiograms and these hospital tests. So, they're happy for the Glavine family. And, of course, the Met family are happy that they're going to have Tom Glavine back in that rotation.
Well put. Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you on SNY. Mets coverage continues tomorrow night with Game 2 of this Cardinals-Mets series. They have a tough act to follow. Nissan Post Game Live continues after a break. When we come back, more on tonight's thrilling finish at Shea. Carlos Beltran, the hero among heroes. Nissan play of the game, the last play of the game. Carlos Beltran, the game-winning 2-run home run. The first pitch he sees from Jason Isringhausen, gone. Gary Cohen screaming at the top of his lungs as the Mets win it. You saw it here on SNY, number 36 on the year. The Mets take it 8-7 against the Cardinals in Game 1 of this 3-game series. The upcoming schedule looks like this. Game 2 of the series, you'll see it here. Coverage begins at 6:30 with North Fork Bank pregame live. Steve Traxel takes the ball on Wednesday. And how about this? He's 10-1 since the beginning of June. 10-1. His line rarely wows you, but winning is what counts, and he has done that consistently for the better part of this summer. And this graphic coming up here shows you exactly how effective Traxel has been since June 1st. His numbers against the stats of the other 4 pitchers who have accounted for most of the starts, I mean, it just blows them away in terms of wins. Orlando Hernandez is the only other guy with a record over 500. Here is the skipper, Willie Randolph, following Traxel's last start.
He's doing a very consistent job, going out there and giving us what he's got every time out, and we supported him a lot, but he's been very efficient, and you like to get a good solid start every time a guy goes out, but like you said, he's been as consistent as anyone, so he's done a nice job for us.
I don't really listen to what anybody else says, so I know what my teammates say, and that's the most important thing for me. Coaches are all happy with how I've been throwing. I'm happy with how I'm throwing, and that's what's important.
All right, that was Traxel a few days ago, and this is how it stacks up for tomorrow. Mark Mulder will be making his first Major League start since June 20th. He's been on the DL with a rotator cuff and shoulder injury. Now, before tonight's game, the Mets announced that Tom Glavine will be back in the rotation soon, 7 to 10 days. He will not require surgery on his left shoulder, as an angiogram revealed that scar tissue from an old injury caused that coldness or that coolness in his left ring finger. According to doctors, this condition is not serious. Here's Tom Glavine late this afternoon.
I mean, I'm relieved. There's still a little bit of anxiety, I guess, for going through what I've gone through for the last few days and the uncertainty of it. But, you know, it's certainly a great feeling knowing that I can go out there and continue to pitch and, you know, get back on the field as soon as I can. So, I mean, from that standpoint, it's great. And you know, hopefully from here on out, there'll be no more problems. I guess the time frame right now, more than anything else, is giving my artery a chance to heal. You know, I mean, they want you to be real careful with that, where they poke a hole in your artery. So, you know, that's the biggest caution right now is giving that 48 hours of doing nothing and letting it heal. And then beyond that, you know, it's whatever Dr. Altchek says at the timetable that I can get out and start throwing again. I mean, I'll probably need a couple side sessions to get ready, and then once I get out there and pitch, you know, I don't feel like physically I've lost a whole lot or that you know, I need to be on a strict pitch count or anything like that. I think it's going to be pretty much status quo, but obviously they'll keep a closer eye where I've missed some time.
All right, that was Tom Glavine earlier today. We take another break on Nissan Postgame Live. When we come back, you'll hear from Willie Randolph as his club takes Game 1 of this series against the Cardinals in dramatic fashion. Don't go away. Let's take it 8-7 against the Cardinals. They moved to 28 games over 500. They have now rattled off 9 straight wins at Shea Stadium. Here's Willie Randolph addressing the media at Shea just a few moments ago.
Wow, what a ball game, huh? What do you think, Chris? Nice ball game? You like that?
Solid.
Like that? What do you think?
10 walk-offs this year so far.
Hey, that's
been a
sweet.
little while, though.
That's okay. It's perfect timing for me. About time for it to start again.
Carlos
Nice.
Delgado officially out of the slump he's been in.
No, good hitters, you know, they never really go into slumps. They just, every once in a while, they're unlucky. That's why I look at it, you know. Because when you're a great hitter like that, you know, you're going to have your days where you just hit the ball hard at someone. Sometimes you get a little bit out of sync. But I'm just not a believer in slumps. I don't believe in that. That's just a word they throw at you when you don't get hits, you know. But, you know, he's a human being, and every once in a while you get out in front, you know, it's all that technical stuff that we talk about in the clubhouse. But he's such a great hitter that, you know, they just get away with it for a while with him. Pitchers do. But when it's time to come up big, he does. And I hope that can use that for a long time. He's one of the best hitters in the game, and 400 home runs. You know, I guarantee you'll get 500 before it's all over and more. So big ball game for him, and Carlos coming through. CB coming through with the big game winner. Fun stuff.
Lots of good things today, huh? One right after the other. From Tommy to Sean to winning the game.
Yeah, well, you know, we're on the field, and you know, we kept playing, we kept, you know, battling, you know, getting behind early. But the character and the attitude of this ball club is that we never give up. We just keep playing the game, and you know, just you can feel it. It's just a nice feeling to know that these guys are very confident about what they do, and you know, we're playing against a good ball club, and you know, Johnny didn't have a big game tonight. He made mistakes to the wrong guy. You don't want to let Pujols beat you, and you know, he made some bad pitches at the wrong time, and so, but we picked him up. That's what good teams do. So, nice win overall. Great win.
What happened to the New York Mets stoic manager?
Stoic?
Yes.
Well, you know, I guess I'm a chameleon. I can change every once in a while. You know, that's okay. You know, I like to keep you guessing. You know. I think I'm still pretty stoic, you know. How you look at it, yeah.
Well, you've known Green for a long time, or you've seen him play for a long time. What does he give you, and how do you plan to use him? Where in the order and that type of thing?
Well, he's going to be my right fielder. He's a solid player. Watched him play a lot of years with Toronto, and you know, good defensive ball player. You know, not a guy that can hit lefties and righties. He's just a solid all-around player. I haven't seen him play consistently for a couple of years. He's probably not having a typical Sean Green year, but you know, maybe a nice little change of scenery would be good for him. He's get around LaDuca and Delgado and a really solid ball club, obviously. So that can sometimes get you kick-started or whatever. So he's a solid guy all the way around, good in the clubhouse. I've always admired his approach as a left-handed hitter. He's not a pure power hitter, but he likes to hit the ball the other way, which is part of what we like to do. So outstanding pickup by Omar, and I think he's going to fit in real nice with us. Real nice. We'll think about it overnight. We have some options, and he's flexible in a lot of different ways. So we'll see. I'll think about it.
Willie might get overlooked, but how important was Bradford getting Pujols on that double play?
It was huge. I mean, he's been outstanding all year long. Give him the ball, and he comes in, just goes right at you, and makes quality pitches, and that's why we got him. He's there for the big boys like Pujols, and he came in ran the slider, or ran the sinker in on his fist a little bit, and an outstanding pitch. So he's been one of the real unsung heroes on our ball club all year, and never hesitate to give him the ball. He's done a great job.
How pleased were you that you were able to take one of the major league's best players, best shot, and still able to come back tonight?
Well, we have to take everyone's shot. Doesn't matter who it is. You know, we need to just continue to keep fighting and playing. I mean, it's just nice to be able to come back from a deficit like that. It really doesn't mean anything to me about who it is. The Cardinals are an excellent ball club, but we were able to get in their bullpen, and we got some big blows from some quality players. So.
Did you notice any reaction in the dugout when they made the announcement about the trade?
No, not really. We stayed pretty focused. I know sometimes when you're down low like that, I don't know if you totally hear it, but there was no reaction really, so I don't know. I heard it because I was on top step. But didn't quite understand that, but you know, it's okay. We refocused real quick, you know, if the guys had heard it anyway.
You joked around with Marty about being stoic and all, but you said before the game, you know, you're excited, you just haven't shown it a lot. Finally tonight you get a rare chance to show it.
Am I excited? I'm not really excited. Am I excited to you? Am I? I don't think I am. I'm just smile every once in a while, but no, I feel good all the time, man. I really do. I think everyone's got perception is just way out there. You guys just don't know me, but you know, hey, that's okay. I'm not here to win any popularity contests. I'm here to help win ball games, and the people that know me, like Marty, know that I'm a little weird, you know, a little crazy, you know, and all that stuff. So, yeah, well, that's okay, man, because I laugh because people think they know, and it's real funny because people that know me know I'm totally opposite of what people might think. But to me, it's not important. It's all about having fun, doing what I'm doing, and winning ball games. I think people should care less, you know, how I come across, because the bottom line is getting the job done, don't you think? You know? All right. You just smile more yourself, too, man. You know? Yeah, you should.
If I smiled anymore, they think there was something wrong with me.
Really? There's something wrong with you. You ask me questions about how I feel, you know?
Willie, I know you're focused on team goals and everything, but did Carlos Beltran one-up Pujols, as great a player he is, in the MVP race? I mean, in your mind, is Beltran the National League MVP?
Well, for me, you know, you love your players and what they do for you because you see them every day, and you like how they go about their business. I mean, Pujols is an outstanding player, and you put numbers together. You know, I'm not always a numbers guy. It's what you mean to your ball club. So that's the definition of MVP for me. But I'm just a little bit biased, and I have to say that Carlos had a tremendous year, and he has to finish up strong. We have a long way to go, so this thing's probably going to get real interesting at the end. You know, a lot of respect for Pujols, but Beltran's my MVP, that's for sure.
Willie, getting back to John Maine, despite his struggles tonight, are you still satisfied overall with his production this year?
Yeah. Hey, you know, you make a couple bad pitches, and you pay for it. That's the bottom line. But yeah, he's done an outstanding job for us. You can't just react to one game, and he'll bounce back. He'll be okay. I mean, it would be a little bit weird if he went out every game and just threw up goose eggs all the time. That wouldn't be too realistic. So he's entitled to a stinker every once in a while, but he'll bounce back. He'll be all right.
A jovial Willie Randolph talking to the media a few minutes ago, and he has reason to be happy. The Mets win. They acquire Shawn Green to play right field, and Tom Glavine is coming back sooner than later. Geico Sports Night has details on all of this. It's coming up on SNY after a break. That's all for Nissan Postgame Live. Carlos Beltran wins it with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth. The Mets beat the Cardinals. You saw it here. We'll see you tomorrow with North Fork Bank pregame. Geico Sports Night is next. Enjoy.